This is Atomic Shinobi, and today I'm going to narrate first part of What If Naruto Was the Last Saiyan of the Universe. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe to this channel. Now wasting no more time, let's start the story.
Rewind. April 6th, 6 years prior to the Valley of the End. Naruto was training at the age of 6. He was reviewing the clone jutsu that his academy sensei Iruka had taught him. Despite his best efforts, Naruto was unable to master the jutsu. He kept trying, but to no avail. Based on his track record, you would think he could do this. Since his earliest memories, Naruto has always been a resilient youngster. A man was once stranded beneath a merchant cart. Nobody nearby was able to remove it. Before Naruto arrived and threw the cart, the nearby residents were ready to call a ninja for assistance. With a single hand. Even though 5 men were attempting to remove the cart from the man, Naruto managed to do it with ease using just one hand. He had a lot of energy, too. He played tricks to increase his stamina and energy. However, after being apprehended, he takes Chunin and a few Junin on chases throughout the city until the ninjas give up. Naruto could go farther than anyone ever imagined, completing up to 6 laps, 1.5 miles, around the school field before stopping, whereas the majority of the other students in his class could only complete 2 laps, 1/2 mile, without stopping. They also put him through a test to determine his chakra levels. They caused him to simultaneously release all of his chakras in a continuous aura. Naruto's aura reached heights that some Junin couldn't match when he tried it. He had the capacity to absorb information like a sponge absorbs water. After reading Ninja Academy Year 1 3 times in 3 months, he was able to respond to questions that some second-year students were unable to. Naturally, the teachers asked him questions about topics they hadn't yet covered, but Naruto consistently provided accurate answers, often leaving the teachers stunned. Additionally, he discovered that when he flared out his chakra, genjutsu were dispelled. He practiced that move for a few days before mastering it. In order to dispel any genjutsu, he would often flare chakra out of a small part of his body. He exercised his chakras with it. He even discovered that he had genjutsu on some of his tests, but he ignored it. Naruto's skin was tough as well. Even though he had skin that could easily be stabbed by a kunai, he only experienced a slight hurt. Once, a villager hurled a kunai at Naruto's arm. Despite not sensing it at all, it struck Naruto. The upper portion of the kunai was bent when it fell. Naruto only experienced a slight ache, which passed after a short while. He also discovered a new chakra technique. Though it wasn't chakra, it was a completely different thing. Naruto had the impression that chakra was not what his body was used to from the moment he began using it. It wasn't until he was attacked that he discovered what that was. A group of people banded together and attempted to murder him. Naruto attempted to flee but was beaten after coming to a dead end. Naruto was still afraid even though the attacks didn't hurt as much as they usually did. When he looked around, all he saw were the people's vile glares. When Naruto became anxious, his instincts took over. He launched an attack of some kind that struck everyone and caused them to flee. Naruto eventually located it after 2 months of searching. His body had been aching for that energy. It was the chakra's spiritual energy, which I chose because it is increased through exercise. Naruto tested it and discovered that he could control it in any way. Using that kind of energy felt right. He could create anything he could think of, including a grenade, a ball, and a blade. However, he was unable to control chakra in spite of all of these accomplishments. He lacked the self-control to perform a single basic jutsu. He was now working diligently to master the clone jutsu but was unsuccessful. Naruto made another attempt but was unsuccessful. Naruto became enraged beyond control. Despite his best efforts, he was unable to perform this one basic jutsu move. After dropping to his knees, Naruto placed his hands on his head. With a savage roar, he threw back his head after leaning forward. Something inside of him was shocked, somehow, by that scream and his anger. All of a sudden, he felt powerful. And a ton of it, too. It was all around him. It manifested as a fiery yellow aura. Naruto's hair stood on end. He was sufficiently altered to be startled out of his angry state and returned to reality. Naruto sensed the power within himself, but he was unable to explain it. It seemed as though a very distant object had suddenly appeared before him. It felt damn good to feel the power. Naruto realized that this was not the end once he regained control over himself. He sensed it. He was aware that this power would completely alter his life. He had to conceal it, too. He sensed danger with a sixth sense. He could tell when he was being watched by someone who could harm him. He sensed the Uchiha boy in his class staring at him. Call it precognition. Often, the child would gaze daggers into Naruto's head. Naruto sensed the danger in that stare, but he never gave it any thought. It was similar to hearing a serial killer laugh as he was released from prison or something. Naruto felt the power suddenly leave him, but he was unable to explain it. He watched the aura fade and felt his hair fall down. The edges of his vision were black, too. Naruto lost consciousness as the black took over his vision entirely. Underscore. Sped up to September, 6 years prior to the Valley of the End. Naruto was going to try it again after 5 months. Once, after countless attempts, he managed to fall unconscious. Naruto attempted to reach it once more after learning that his anger was the reason he was able to do so. He failed a few times before succeeding. Upon doing so, he experienced an increase in power and considered raising his spiritual energy. Naruto was ready to give it another go after months of training. After each training week, he gave it a try, but it didn't work. He was never able to turn it on. He was going to give it another go now. As instructed, Naruto flared his aura, gaining strength and exerting his maximum potential. Naruto continued to build his power, increasing it steadily. He eventually sensed a barrier, like a physical cap on his authority. Knowing that obstacle stood between him and that transformation, Naruto concentrated his power more and more. Naruto applied pressure until he felt the barrier literally dissolving. The power rushed him once more when it broke completely. Naruto hurried over to see what the transformation was because he was by a river this time. He noticed a totally different person staring at him in his reflection. Blonde hair was sticking up in strange places on the person in the water. His eyes were greenish. Blue. The individual was more muscular than Naruto had ever been. He was surrounded by a fiery yellow aura as well. Before he punched himself, he believed he was dreaming. The water caught his eye and he thought, "That's me. My appearance has completely changed." After examining himself further, Naruto said, "This is unbelievable." He then left the river and entered the town. The aura eventually subsided, but the changes persisted, and nobody saw him when he entered the town. Normally, his eyes and hair were jet black. Other than the whisker marks, he was unrecognizable now that the colors had changed. Naruto made his way across town to the Hokage Monument's forest. Naruto attempted to manage the transformation after arriving. He discovered that he could hardly control it at all. Naruto made the decision to train harder. He could change without anger thanks to training. Perhaps with training, he will be able to change without as much stress. It is comparable to a cool jutsu. It took him 10 minutes of focus to transform and 5 minutes to exit it without fainting, so you want to launch it as quickly as possible. He needed the transformation to happen more quickly. Underscore. Sped up to December 27th, 6 years prior to the Valley of the End. After 3 months, Naruto was able to master the technique. After 3 months of arduous work, during which he occasionally had to miss school, he managed to master the transformation. All he needed to do now was focus, and the technique would transform him into Super Naruto in a matter of seconds. His chakra had also benefited from this method. He discovered that it enhanced both his physical and spiritual energy. In some way, it made his body's cells expend a lot more energy. Naruto's chakra reserves significantly expanded, and that power was now under his control. Naruto and the Hokage were out getting some ice cream and a soda for themselves. He explained the ability to the Hokage in detail. It would be an understatement to say that the Hokage was shocked. For 10 minutes, he was unable to raise his jaw. He advised Naruto to keep the technique a secret because it was extremely risky. Since the Hokage was like a grandfather to Naruto, he couldn't keep secrets from him, even though Naruto had already guessed that the Hokage would tell him that. In any case, a guy entered while they were enjoying some ice cream. Despite his ninja-like appearance, it was clear from the sign on his headband that he wasn't from Konoha. He was from Kumogakure no Sato, the village hidden in the clouds, as indicated by the clouds on his headband. He smirked with confidence and had a beard. "Hello today, Hokage. Sama. How are you?" the man said as he approached the Hokage. "Great. I was just on my way to that meeting. It starts in 10 minutes anyway. Naruto, it's getting late, you better get on home," said Sarutobi, wearing a smile. With a, "All right old man," remark, Naruto rose. He began to leave the ice cream shop but stopped. Somehow, he had a bad feeling. He looked around and discovered that the cloud guy was the source. The man didn't notice Naruto staring at him because he was engrossed in a conversation with the Hokage. Naruto eventually learned to believe his instincts after a few years. They saved him from numerous beatings. Naruto was aware that being beaten was still unpleasant, even though they probably wouldn't cause any pain. Thus, he discovered how to trust his intuition. Naruto made the decision to spend the remainder of the day following that man. Underscore. Same day, night. Unaware that Naruto was following him, the man went to his hotel room. He was being followed by Naruto from the rooftops, which is a much more convenient way to stay on someone. After Naruto watched the man enter his hotel room, someone jumped out of his window and fled the structure. Naruto could tell that the cloud guy was gone without even looking into the room. Naruto followed the man to the estate of Hyuga. For some reason, the estate was not guarded that day. In any case, the man had no trouble entering a room covertly and stealing something. When Naruto saw the bag move and heard someone whine, he realized that someone was inside the bag, even though he had assumed it was jewelry or something. Naruto was aware that he needed to stop this individual. Something inside him woke up and took full control. In order to confront the man, he leapt from the trees he was hiding in. "Stop. Let that person go. Now," said Naruto. The man chuckled. He stated, "So some little kid thinks that he can play the hero, huh? Well then, I'll show you what happens to fools like you who try to play the hero." Naruto was charged by the man. Despite his speed, he made no effort to defend himself. He believed Naruto to be a typical 7-year-old. He was surprised to learn that Naruto was also quick. The man dropped the person in the bag after Naruto managed to get a hit off on his chest. Naruto snatched up the bag as it fell and fled. The cloud guy could barely keep up with him as he ran into the forest at a startling pace. Naruto came to a halt in a clearing. When he removed the bag, a girl was inside. Her hair was midnight blue, and she was wearing pajamas. She had violet eyes, or whatever color Hyuga eyes are. She was slightly flushed. The young girl identified herself as Naruto's classmate Hinata Hyuga, and she exclaimed, "NN Naruto.kun. What happened?" Despite her slight shyness, she had no trouble making friends. Although Naruto was unaware of it, she also harbored feelings for him. Naruto was saying, "Some guy from Cloud Village tried to kidnap you. He's coming. Hinata, I'll hold him off." Hinata went into a panic. Her father informed her that Junin, their head, had been sent by the Cloud Village to sign a peace treaty with the village. She assumed that the head Junin could keep up with some of the best, and he wasn't someone to mess with. She had to prevent Naruto from going out there and dying. "Naruto.kun, you can't," she said. Naruto interrupted her. He walked over to an area of the forest and said, "Hey, don't tell me what I can't do. We'll both be fine. I give you my word, and I never go back on my word. That's my nindo. My ninja way. I promise you won't get hurt. Now sit back and watch me show this guy what happens when he messes with my friends." When Hinata heard Naruto refer to her as his friend, she blushed slightly. Although Hinata was unable to explain it, Naruto's words comforted her. She relaxed and took a step back. After 2 seconds, Cloud's head Junin emerged from the forest. Taking Naruto seriously this time, he yelled, "You won't survive round 2, kid," and charged Naruto. "No, you won't survive this," Naruto exclaimed before concentrating his power and effortlessly triggering his transformation. He unleashed his power when he changed. The landscape changed somewhat as a result of the power. The earth began to give way beneath him. Tiny pebbles began to rise and fall apart in midair. Hinata said, "Naruto, what happened to you?" after glancing at him. Naruto stated, "This is my new technique I made up. It changes my hair yellow, and makes me a whole lot stronger. With this move I can beat this fool." After giving the Cloud Junin a quick glance, Naruto said, "All right. Let's go now." Then Naruto fired at the man. Naruto was in front of the man one moment, and then his right fist was buried in his chest the next. The man's eyes grew to the size of dinner plates as they emerged from his eye sockets. Then Naruto spun around and used the sole of his left foot to kick the man. Before landing, the man drifted back 10 feet. With a sword in his right hand, the man hurried to his feet and yelled, "This time I'm not going easy on you. Now die," before advancing on Naruto. "Spirit Sword Jutsu," shouted Naruto. With his thumb tucked into his palm and his fingers outstretched, Naruto held out his left arm. A yellow mass of energy emerged as he directed ki energy into his hand. From his wrist, the energy traveled 3 feet before concentrating into a point. The man halted his run, watched in disbelief, and asked himself, "Who is this kid?" Turning to face Hinata, Naruto said, "Surprised? I call this my Spirit Sword Jutsu. It creates a glowing yellow sword in place of my hand. Now I don't need a weapon." Hinata looked in awe. The man kept running at Naruto and attempted a vertical slash, but the Cloud Junin retorted, "No matter. I can easily kill you, little boy." To deflect the blow, Naruto raised his sword. As the man withdrew his sword and attempted to strike Naruto diagonally once more, sparks flashed. A horizontal follows. The man continued to attack, never pausing for a moment. Naruto prevented the man from making any progress. He parried or blocked every blow the guys threw at him. Naruto made a second, smaller blade on his right arm while the Cloud Junin was busy hitting him. He brought his other blade around, making it larger, after he deflected another vertical blow from the man. Then, like a hot knife through butter, the blade sliced through the man's sword. The man was momentarily taken aback by the destruction of his sword. Using the moment, Naruto halted his spirit sword jutsu and punched the man in the chest. The hit knocked the Cloud Junin away. Energy began to be charged into Naruto's left hand. Naruto released the attack after it had fully charged, shouting, "Silent Grenade Jutsu." Despite its small size, the attack spread quickly. There was no chance for the Cloud Junin. He was struck by the attack, but it failed. It simply struck him, and he seemed unfazed. The man stood up and charged Naruto once more. He began to perform hand seals while shouting, "Lightning style. Lightning bolt jutsu." A yellow lightning bolt descended upon Naruto from the sky. Naruto barely avoided the blast as he leapt back. The Junin was gone when he touched down. It was too late when Naruto searched for him. When Hinata yelled, "Naruto-kun, watch out," he realized what was about to happen. Naruto glanced around, but he was too slow and was struck in the face by a lightning strike. The blast knocked him away, but he managed to get back up on his feet. He glanced around before being shot once more. He continued searching for the Junin, but each time he believed he had located him, he was blasted. "That's impressive, kid. Maybe I'll take you and the girl to Cloud with me. Then we'll use you both to breed the ultimate ninja and take over the elemental countries," the man said after 12 blasts had passed. "It was a good fight, kid, but now you're," the man said as he concluded his hand seal. When Hinata rushed forward and attacked the man, he was interrupted. She leapt to her feet and struck him in the back with a gentle fist. The man yelled in agony, then knelt forward on one foot, turned around, and slapped Hinata, who grunted in agony before falling back. The man said, "I'll deal with you later, bitch." After turning around, the man said, "Where were we now?" When he turned around, he saw Naruto standing up, and the man began to shout, "Lightning style. False darkness jutsu," while performing hand seals. The clouds gathered together, and then a massive beast of lightning emerged from them. The beast roared and ran toward Naruto, who did nothing but stand there. Then the beast collided with him, and there was a tremendous explosion, leading Hinata to believe that Naruto had died. She began to cry suddenly, believing that her friend and crush had died. "Who did you say wouldn't survive this battle, kid?" the Cloud Junin said, laughing. "Unfortunately, Cloud could have benefited from your skills." And, what the devil? The man was interrupted when the smoke from the attack suddenly blew away, revealing Naruto standing there with bloody wounds and ripped clothes. Naruto looked at the man, and the glare in his eyes was so vile that it would have made Orochimaru urinate in his pants. "I was going to let the Hokage decide what to do with you, but I won't do that now," Naruto stated. "You will die right now for harming Hinata Chan." The man had broken hands, legs, arms, and a cracked rib. Naruto shot at him, creating a crater where he was. The Cloud Junin began performing hand seals, but was stopped when he suddenly appeared in his face, buried his fist in his face, and blasted him backwards. The man was about to land, but Naruto stopped him. He then appeared behind him and kicked him to the left, then vanished again and appeared behind him again, and so on, until the man landed. The man slowly stood up, squirming in agony, and when he looked up, he saw Naruto holding a spirit sword in his face. "Please," he said. "All I was doing was following the Raikage's orders. I beg you to be kind to me." "Mercy?" Naruto screamed, narrowing his eyes even more than they were. "You want me to be kind to you? For your village? You abducted Hinata from her home. You attempted to murder me. You two were on the verge of kidnapping me. For your village only. Describe for me why. Why in the world do I need to give you mercy after that? I mean, why don't I just kill you here?" Naruto interrupted the whimpering Junin as he was about to say something, dropping the sprit sword from his transformation and saying, "Luckily for you, that's not my decision to make." Naruto then turned to look behind him, and the Junin turned to see the Hokage and Heishi Hyuga standing there. "Well done, Naruto," the Hokage said. "You prevented this Junin from taking Hinata to Kumogakure in addition to saving her. I'll take this guy to be questioned in the interrogation room. How did you get here, Naruto?" "This guy gave me a bad vibe," Naruto remarked. "I followed him all day because I believe my instincts. He changed clothes and left for the Hyuga estate after I followed him to his apartment. The security was down for some reason. I had to stop him when I discovered him attempting to steal Hinata Chan." Heishi Hyuga stepped forward and said, "You did a heroic thing today, Naruto-san. You prevented the village from making a peace deal with a disguised enemy that would have killed us all. in addition to saving my daughter. I am so grateful to you. You don't need to thank me, Naruto said. I took this action in an effort to save Hinata-chan. You saved my daughter, regardless of why you did it, Heishi said. Thank you. According to Naruto, no problem. The following day, the head Junin of Cloud was going to be taken to jail, but the Raikage stopped that when the Junin told the people of Konoha about his covert mission there. A copy of what he said during his interrogation was sent to the daimyo of Fire Country and the daimyo of Lightning Country. When the Raikage attempted to declare war, the daimyo of Lightning Country immediately rejected the idea, stating that if they went to war, he would cut all funds to Kumogakure. The Raikage then quickly lost interest in starting a war. When Hinata mentioned that Naruto used a move called the Silent Grenade, Naruto explained to the Hokage what the attack did. Essentially, the attack buried itself in a body, and the attack would take the bloodstream to the heart, where it would swell up and grow, destroying the attacker from the inside out. The probe would only last for 3 days. When Naruto informed the Hokage of that move, the Hokage chose to accept the Raikage's offer and send the head Cloud Junin back to Kumogakure. He brought 6 Anbu with him, one of which was a shadow clone of the Hokage disguised as a clone. The Anbu immediately left Kumogakure with the head Junin, dispelling the clone. The Hokage then had Naruto use that technique, and the head Junin was blown up directly in front of the Raikage. Hinata understood and kept her mouth shut when Naruto told her not to tell anyone that he could defeat the head Junin of Cloud because it might anger some people. Ever since that day, her father has made sure she spends a lot of time with Naruto because he knows she is safe with him. Konoha Ninja Academy, fast forward, 1 year prior to Valley of the End. They had been best friends since Naruto saved Hinata, and they were always spotted together. They played together, trained together, and ate together. If they didn't deny it whenever someone mentioned it, people would assume they were dating, but they actually loved each other and just didn't know how to show it. They were constantly coming up with new ways to use spiritual energy, and Naruto taught Hinata some of his special spiritual-based attacks. She took a while longer to learn than he did, but she was able to do it with ease, even creating some of her own attacks. It was quiet until the door opened and a child with jet black hair and black eyes yelled, "Dobi, fight me, now." Naruto and Hinata arrived at school early today and took their seats next to each other, Naruto beside her and Hinata by the window. Naruto turned to face his most vilified adversary, Sasuke Uchiha, at the door. Sasuke had detested him since he had first arrived because he had black hair and eyes like Uchiha, and they were constantly fighting and at each other's throats. With a sigh, Naruto remarked, "Did you not learn anything from the last time I whooped your ass 50 times? That's just luck," Sasuke said, squinting at Naruto. "Lightning strikes only once." "You're right," Naruto grinned. "As far as I can tell, it hits 50 times. Sasuke gave Naruto a more intense glare and exclaimed, "What, Dobi, afraid?" Naruto uttered, No, I simply don't want to get involved in your affairs. You are a little child compared to me." In a fit of rage, Sasuke exclaimed, "What did you say?" "You heard me," Naruto said. "Sasuke, you can never defeat me. For you, I'm too strong." "You talk a lot of trash," Sasuke remarked. "See if you can support it, after school. The field. I'll prove to you who is the best once and for all." "There, I'll be," Naruto said. "Additionally, I'll see to it that you have a hospital room reserved for you." Needless to say, word got out fast, and soon everyone, including some who weren't in school, was aware of the fight. When school let out, all of the students and their parents were gathered around, anticipating the fight. Sasuke and Naruto's rivalry was the talk of the academy. Sasuke stood alone in the field outside the academy, surrounded by people, waiting to see him defeat Naruto. Somehow, 4 very special people heard about the match and came to watch it. Danzo, the old Konoha war hawk, who secretly led a secret police force called Root that did not report to the Hokage. Homura and Kaharu, the village elders, who were on the Konoha council and were there to watch how the Uchiha would defeat the demon that had afflicted their village for 12 years. And Hiruzen Sarutobi, the Sandaime Hokage, who was there to ensure that no one attempted to harm Naruto after this match. "It's after school, and Naruto didn't show up," Sasuke stated. "I suppose that demonstrates his cowardice." The audience applauded when he failed to appear at all. As they were supporting Sasuke, someone yelled, "Look above you, dumbass." When Sasuke looked up to see where the voice was coming from, he saw Naruto sitting on a branch and staring at him boredly. "I've been sitting here for 5 minutes," he said. "I wanted to check if you could locate me here. I suppose you were unable to." Leaning back on the branch, Naruto fell off and flipped through the air, landing 2 feet ahead of Sasuke. "All right," Naruto said. "Sasuke, you challenged me to a fight. I agreed. Is that accurate? Yes, said Sasuke. What if it is? After giving Homura and Kaharu a quick glance, Naruto said, just to clear things up for anyone who might be trying to blame me for your injuries. Let's go now. Said Sasuke, gladly. Wanting to get this over with as soon as possible, Naruto leapt at Sasuke, twisted in midair, and kicked out with his left foot, which struck Sasuke's face and knocked him back. Naruto landed and uttered, "Come on, Sasuke. If you want this battle to go longer than 30 seconds, you must perform better than that." According to Sasuke, I intend to. In a blur to ordinary villagers, Naruto charged Sasuke, who saw him coming and sidestepped the right fist that was aimed at his head. Sasuke then sent his left foot out in a front kick to Naruto's stomach, causing Naruto to stagger back from the pain. He usually didn't see hits like those coming. What happened to him? He asked himself. I bet you're wondering how I can see your attacks, said Sasuke with a sly smile. Look into my eyes, please. Naruto noticed something unexpected in Sasuke's eyes and thought, he must have had the Sharingan from our last battle. As Naruto put it, I see you unlocked the crutch Sharingan. Sasuke squinted at Naruto and uttered, what? The crutch Sharingan, said Naruto. That's your ancestry. For the Uchiha family, the Sharingan is merely a crutch. When their lives are in jeopardy, it comes on. Training never produces it. When your own strength is insufficient to save your ass, the Sharingan arrives. These days, that's the problem with all bloodlines. All of them serve as crutches. And you fall when your crutch is beaten. The Uchiha clan is the supreme clan in Konoha, Sasuke declared, glaring at Naruto with daggers. We are the greatest. The world's greatest bloodline is ours. The strongest people are the Uchiha. If that's the case, why isn't Konoha a monarchy with the Uchiha as the ruling family? Smirked Naruto. Madara Uchiha desired that. However, Hashirama Senju, the first Hokage, defeated him, so he was unable to get what he wanted. Take a look at your father. Minato Namikaze defeated him as a contender for the Yondaime Hokage title. Sasuke, you must realize that your clan was never at the top. They were always 3 steps behind the Senju clan. The Senju constructed Konoha, and the Nidaime provided us with the rivers that we use for water, while the Shodaime provided us with the trees that conceal our village. They taught the Sandaime Hokage, who in turn taught the Sannin, and one of the Sannin taught the Yondaime. Additionally, our village enjoys peace with other great hidden villages under Senju rule, scaring the others into a ceasefire. The Shodaime had control over wood. He managed to subdue the Biju as well. To reduce violence between the hidden villages, he sent each Biju to a great elemental country. The Nidaime had the ability to manipulate water so that he could make use of the airborne water molecules. None of you have the ability to control fire the way the Nidaime controlled water, but the Uchiha essentially worship fire. The only weapon the Uchiha possess is a modified Byakugan that has the ability to control the Kyuubi. However, your clan doesn't even have that going for them because the Yondaime killed him. And it took only one Anbu captain to kill all of your clan in one night. Face it, Sasuke, your clan is an embarrassment to this village and was never up top. Sasuke appeared astounded by Naruto's claims. He spent his entire life worshipping his clan. Despite his dedication to his clan, this no-clan orphaned loser was bringing his clan's name down to the floor. After giving Naruto a quick glance, Sasuke muttered, I'll kill you. With a fierce expression on his face, Naruto said, try it. If you use deadly force against me, I'll kill you where you stand, weakling. Sasuke's body began to change when Naruto called him a weakling. He gained a significant amount of muscle mass. His hair began to turn blue and change shape. Additionally, a yellow aura began to surround him. Sasuke looked entirely different at the end. He enjoyed it even though he had no idea what had happened to him. When Naruto saw Sasuke's new shape, he knew something was wrong. This was similar to his method but also distinct. It had more muscle mass than he did. His eyes remained in their Sharingan form, but his hair turned blue. Naruto felt a surge of energy when Sasuke transformed into that muscular fighter. It was a distinct feeling from fear. It was telling him to go all out on Sasuke or run. Naruto didn't listen to it because he couldn't explain it. Sasuke vanished. Sasuke was nowhere to be seen when Naruto looked around. Then he saw Sasuke, who punched him in the stomach. The moment Naruto drifted back, he passed through the crowd and struck a tree. When Naruto looked up, Sasuke was grinning at him. Naruto replied, you don't got nothing to be smiling about, Sasuke. I'm tired of holding back on you. With his fists clenched at his sides, Naruto rose to his feet. A primal yell escaped his lips as he focused his strength. The impact was instantaneous. The hair on Naruto stood up. His eyes changed color and his hair turned golden. and his muscles grew. Says Naruto. Let's go, Sasuke. Both vanished at once. A shockwave was heard in the air after a few seconds. It resembled the collision of two massive objects. Some were even blown back by the shockwave. The two dueling ninjas reappeared where the shockwave had come from. Naruto had his fist in Sasuke's face when they emerged. After the blow, Sasuke leaned back and flipped back, kicking Naruto in the chin with his foot out. After soaring back, Naruto hit the ground. Naruto hurried to his feet and ran toward Sasuke. Sasuke lunged toward Naruto and punched him. Under the blow, Naruto ducked and concentrated his energy into his fists. Then Naruto shouted, "Spirit tags." Then, with lightning speed, he began attacking Sasuke. Sasuke was able to stop half of the attacks while wearing this Sharingan. But some made it through. Unexpectedly, Naruto retreated. He landed after leaping far from Sasuke. "Spirit tags, ignite," he exclaimed. There was silence for a moment. Sasuke, however, began to glow. As he examined his body, he noticed that while his arms were the main source of the glow, there were also some glowing areas on his chest. The glowing spots burst into flames. By the time the smoke cleared, Sasuke remained upright. His clothing was now partially torn. Little pieces of his shirt that were still hanging on him were blown away. There were also rips in his pants. Sasuke, however, was fine except for that. As Naruto put it, "It seems you're stronger than I thought." Sasuke screamed as he charged Naruto. Sasuke opened with a left punch, which Naruto avoided, and he jumped back when Sasuke attempted to knee him in the stomach. Naruto charged energy into his hands and launched 6 energy balls while he was still in the air. Sasuke was covered in smoke after the attacks collided with him. Naruto charged energy into his hands and placed them in front of his chest. In front of his chest, the energy formed a red ball. Naruto then screamed, "Destruction wave," and thrust his hands forward. Sasuke was caught off guard as the red attack soared through the sky. Sasuke created a crater in the ground as he flew back at the attack. He was bleeding from his lip and from the spot on his chest where the attack had occurred. Still in a psychotic fit of rage, he stood up. Like a crazed lunatic, he screamed, "I'll kill you." Once more, Sasuke charged Naruto. At that moment, Naruto came to a realization. His metamorphosis is similar to my move. His issue is that it increases his strength while decreasing his speed. All of my attributes have increased equally as a result of my transformation. His power is greatly increased by that move, but his speed is not greatly improved. I have to take him there. After waiting for Sasuke to catch up to him, Naruto vanished. Sasuke searched everywhere but was unable to locate Naruto. A voice said to him, "Hey dumbass, look behind you." When Sasuke turned around, he saw Naruto clutching another ball of energy by his right hip between both hands. This one, however, was green. "Say hello to Super Naruto's Konoha Cannon," said Naruto. Then Naruto swung around, launching the attack with tremendous force. Sasuke was the direct target of the attack as it flew through the air. He felt the full force of the attack. Sasuke's back was blown away. Sasuke was not visible through the smoke. However, the smoke vanished instantly after that. Standing there, still bruised, was Sasuke. He lunged at Naruto once more, but Naruto sidestepped his blow. However, Naruto failed to avoid the headbutt that was thrown at him. After the attack, Naruto was blown back. "Damn, that attack was strong," Naruto thought as he stood up. "I can't allow him to strike me in that manner again. I'll be done if I do." Only skilled ninjas could keep up with Naruto's rapid pace as he hurried Sasuke. Sasuke ducked his punch as he rushed him. Sasuke then had to work hard to keep up with Naruto's rapid fire attacks. With ki blasts flying everywhere, Naruto leapt back into the air. Naruto was gone, but Sasuke ducked them. When he turned around, a boot struck his face. The sheer force of the attack sent Sasuke reeling. Sasuke was still in midair when Naruto infused his left hand with energy. A blade of energy emerged from the energy. Naruto charged energy in with his right hand. It was a black ball of energy. Naruto shouted, "Spirit shot," and thrust his right hand forward. Sasuke was struck while still in the air by the blast. Then, brandishing the spirit sword, Naruto slashed Sasuke across his body. Sasuke was kneeling in agony, on all fours. Then Naruto grasped Sasuke's head with the tip of his sword. He was saying, "Give up now, Sasuke, or I'll extend this blade through your brain." Glaring at Naruto, Sasuke uttered the words, "Fuck you." With a scowl of his own, Naruto replied, "Wrong answer." Then Naruto kicked Sasuke in the face with his right foot raised. Then, Naruto used his right hand to charge up energy once more, but this time it was 10 times as much as he typically uses to charge an attack. With a shout of, "Spirit Shot 10x," he launched the attack at Sasuke at close range. After the attack subsided, Sasuke was knocked unconscious and returned to normal. Naruto stood there, his clothing charred. He stated, "And another one bites the dust." Sakura Haruno's mother, Maki Haruno, came forward. She grabbed Naruto's arm and struck his neck with a kunai. She stated, "As a member of the Konoha Council, I am putting you under arrest for assaulting Sasuke Uchiha." Naruto remained motionless. He tightened his hand and took the woman's arm. He tightened his hold, channeling spiritual energy into his hand. A few seconds later, the air was pierced by a sickening snap. It became apparent to onlookers that Maki had a broken arm. Naruto replied, "Wrong. At the beginning I asked Sasuke and he admitted to asking for this match. That means that he knew what would happen, yet he went forward with it. I can't be blamed for this. As for you, with that kunai to my neck, you pushed it closer to my neck to where it would regularly draw blood. In the eyes of the judicial system of Konoha, that's assault. I have the right to kill you, but I won't do it." Naruto then pulled her by the broken arm, with her screams throughout. He threw her outside the ring after grabbing her by the arm. The Hokage nodded in response to Naruto's brief nod. Then, to the shouts and screams of the crowd, Naruto left. Naruto didn't care about them. After leaving and dropping his transformation, he ran into Hinata once more. Together, they began to stroll down the street. Her response was, "You know you're gonna get hell for that." Naruto replied, "I don't care. They can write it down, publish it in the newspaper, I don't give a fuck. You know that one. Armed one. I'd die at the match?" Hinata asked, leaning in, and continued when Naruto nodded. "That man is named Danzo. Word is, he runs an underground military force called Root." "So, I don't care," said Naruto. Hinata stated, "My father also told me that at every council meeting he asks to take custody of you, but when someone else wants custody of you, he's the first to reject it." "So what's he want with me?" asked Naruto. Hinata replied, "My father said that he might know of your ability to transform." Laughing, Naruto remarked, "Well, he certainly knows now." Hinata replied, "Well, I don't think he'll ask for you anymore. He might ask Sasuke." With an expression of seriousness, Naruto remarked, "You think he wants Sasuke to perfect that transformation?" Hinata replied, "Yeah. He also wants to go to war with every country. He's war crazy, and with Sasuke's transformation in his pocket, he'll certainly win. But he'll need a place to launch that worldwide attack from. A base. And the closest place would be..." With wide eyes, Naruto exclaimed, "Konoha." Hinata replied, "Right. He might try to take over Konoha. If he has Sasuke's transformation with him, he might just take over." Naruto replied, "No he won't. I won't let something like that happen. Even if I have to kill, I won't let someone like Danzo take over Konoha." Hinata replied, "I know. And so does Danzo. He might try to get you too. With both of you, his chances of winning will be higher." Naruto replied, "Don't worry, Hinata-chan. I'll watch my back." As Hinata put it, "But I'm worried about you." Naruto replied, "You don't have to be. I can handle that one armed freak easily." Hinata continued, "But you better watch out for Danzo. He's a sneaky bastard and he'll play every cheap trick he can to get what he wants." After 2 weeks, Naruto had just worn his headband as he left the academy. He was a genin and had graduated. The test seemed so simple to Naruto. He received the best grades in the class at the end. He heard a voice calling out to him as he was leaving. He turned to see Mizuki standing where the sound had come from. He was the assistant teacher, and Naruto had always felt that he was dangerous. Since his instincts frequently saved his life, Naruto always followed them. Naruto nevertheless approached Mizuki. Mizuki replied, "Naruto, I need your help with something quick." "Sure, what is it?" asked Naruto. Mizuki responded, "I'm on my test for becoming a Chunin. One of the requirements is to get a ninja of lower level to get something from the Hokage Tower called the Forbidden Scroll of Seals. I need you to steal it and bring it to a shed outside the village. Will you help me, Naruto?" His response was, "Sure, you can count on me." Naruto was thinking, what the fuck? To fall for that one, you must be a total moron. How foolish does he believe me to be? Dude, there's a reason it's called the Forbidden Scroll of Seals. You were exposed by the Forbidden. Mizuki gave Naruto a map and said, "Great, Naruto. Here," he went on to say. "This map will show you where you can find the shed outside the village. I'm really counting on you, Naruto." "Okay, I'll go right now," Naruto said. After that, Naruto flew to the Hokage tower. He told the Hokage what Mizuki had told him when he got there. He would never put the Forbidden Scroll of Seals in such danger, the Hokage declared. Naruto had an alternative plan to the Hokage's plan to summon the Anbu to arrest Mizuki. Fighting someone higher in rank than himself was always his goal. Outside the village, at the shed, with the actual Forbidden Scroll of Seals, Naruto was standing outside the village. He reasoned that he might as well examine the scroll while he waited for Mizuki to return. The Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, also known as the Shadow Clone Jutsu, was the first move he saw. After reading the description, Naruto. An A-rank jutsu is the Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Similar to the fundamental Bunshin Jutsu, this jutsu produces solid clones. I called the Kage Bunshin no Jutsu forbidden because it requires a lot of chakra to perform. 10 of the village's ninja gave it a try and died from chakra exhaustion. I discovered after experimenting with the jutsu that each clone requires a certain quantity of chakra. They rely on their chakra to keep them alive. They vanish from the world if their chakra runs out. If they have enough chakra, they can also perform jutsu. When the clone is dispelled, the user regains access to whatever the clone saw, heard, or read. Additionally, any remaining chakra is returned to the user when the clone is dispelled. The knowledge can result in death or excruciating headaches if too many Kage Bunshin are dispelled at once. I suggest exercising caution if you learn this jutsu. With a signature, Senju Hashirama. After examining the jutsu's hand seals, Naruto started performing the jutsu right away. He finally mastered the technique after some time. He took a seat, read the scroll once more, and noticed another attack similar to the Kage Bunshin's. Type of fire. Solar Devastation. A rank jutsu is the fire style, Solar Destruction Jutsu. Hand seals are not necessary to perform the Solar Destruction Jutsu, which sets it apart from many other jutsu. This attack concentrates the sun's rays into a blast. The blast can be directed in any direction by the user. More chakra is used in this attack than in the Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Night and day have no effect on the jutsu, except that it takes longer for this attack to charge up at night. Anyone below Junin rank is not advised to use this attack. Although I haven't tried it yet, you might be able to use chakra to make up for the lack of solar energy. I suggest that you use this attack with caution. With a signature, Namikaze Minato. After examining the hand seals, Naruto attempted to activate the jutsu. After some time, he managed to prepare a blast. He observed that it burned objects like a flamethrower when he fired it. After continuing to refine the attack, Naruto attempted to incorporate chakra into it. The attack went out of control and exploded in his face when he did. Naruto tried it a few more times before realizing that his inability to control his chakras was the reason it kept blowing up. Naruto loses control and it explodes when the amount of chakra added to the equation exceeds the amount used to collect solar energy. Naruto stood up and gave it another go, using spiritual energy this time rather than chakra. The assault intensified, but he managed to contain it. Not even that much sunlight was necessary for him. It was dusk when Naruto looked up at the sky. Naruto took a quick nap after realizing that Mizuki wouldn't be there for several hours. Mizuki was still gone when he awoke. Iruka arrived a few minutes later. Naruto, what the hell are you doing? You know that the Forbidden Scroll of Seals is called Forbidden for a reason, he said as he landed in front of Naruto. Naruto stated, I did this to help Mizuki. He said that he was going for his Junin exam, and one of the tests is to get a ninja of lower rank to bring this scroll to him. After giving Naruto a curious look, Iruka remarked, what are you talking about, Naruto? The Junin exam is nothing like that. The Junin exam doesn't even take place for another 6 months. But Mizuki told me where to find the scroll. He told me where this shack was. He even told me how to get here. Why would he tell me this? Naruto pretended to be ignorant once more. Iruka's eyes widened in surprise after narrowing slightly in thought. He stated, if Mizuki told you about this place, then that means. A kunai stepped forward and impaled Iruka in the chest, cutting him off. Iruka staggered backward and collapsed. When Naruto ran to check on him, he saw that Iruka would be okay and that the wound would only bleed for a short time, but he was too weak to fight. Naruto knew who threw the kunai, so he looked in its direction. Mizuki was giggling uncontrollably while perched atop a tree. He stated, I see that you're stupid enough to fall for such a stupid lie, Naruto. Really, a Junin exam, how stupid can you get? Naruto replied, I'm not the stupid one, Mizuki. You are. So tell me, what are you planning to do with the scroll? Mizuki replied, well, I might as well tell you since you and your pathetic teacher are about to die anyway. My plan was to take this scroll to Orochimaru and use it to take over Konoha. Laughing, Naruto remarked, Well, that's a stupid idea. Your one problem is that you think you can beat me. Mizuki responded, we'll see. But before we start, I want to tell you why the villagers hate you so much. No, Mizuki, you can't. It's forbidden to. Ever since the day the decree was placed in effect, Iruka said, glancing at Mizuki. What decree are you talking about, Iruka? Sensei, asked Naruto as he turned to face Iruka. Mizuki responded, and you think I care, Naruto? The decree was about that no one can tell the younger generation that the nine-tailed fox lives inside you. The same fox that destroyed our village and killed our Yondaime is you. It was sealed inside your body when you were born, and that's why everyone hates you. You're nothing but a demon in a pathetic human's body. You're a disgrace to our village, Naruto Uzumaki, and prepare to die. As Mizuki continued to speak, Naruto's eyes widened in surprise. Mizuki took the risk of grabbing a giant shuriken from Naruto's back and throwing it at him after noticing that Naruto was shocked. Naruto disappeared when it was 5 feet away from him. Behind Mizuki, Naruto reappeared, uttering just 3 words. Naruto kicked Mizuki in the back after saying, I already know. Naruto launched 3 ki blasts at Mizuki while she was still in the air as she fell from the tree branch. Mizuki landed in a smoking heap after falling 20 feet. He didn't stay down, though. All hell broke loose when Mizuki made a hand seal and he stood back up and said, so, you're stronger than I originally thought. No matter. I can still deal with you. Mizuki had a mark on his neck, but Naruto was blind to it. It was more than just a marking, though. It was Orochimaru's Earth Curse seal. Mizuki's power increased as the seal's lines began to spread throughout his body. When Naruto felt Mizuki's power slipping away, he realized something was wrong. It would be difficult to match such a power boost. In an attempt to drop Mizuki, Naruto swiftly launched 3 ki blasts. Mizuki avoided the blasts because, regrettably, the curse seal greatly increased his power. Mizuki hurried over to Naruto and launched an assault. In retaliation, Naruto exchanged blows with Mizuki. Mizuki attempted to leap back a bit and brandish a sword, but Naruto was unfazed when he swung it at him. With ease, Naruto punched Mizuki in the face and broke it on his forearm. Energy surged into Naruto's right hand. There was a dark glow to the attack. With a shout of spirit shot, Naruto pointed his hand at the spot where Mizuki had fallen and fired it. As the attack approached, Mizuki jumped into the tree branches and got to his feet, causing the attack to explode on the ground. Mizuki had leapt from the tree branches and was descending when Naruto looked up. Once more, Naruto launched the attack in his hand. He stated, you can't dodge while you're in the air, Mizuki. Spirit shot. Mizuki's position in the air was reached by the second attack sailing through the air. Mizuki prepared for the blow, and it struck him. There was a smokescreen left behind when the attack exploded. Naruto recognized the plume of smoke that led to the ground as the place where Mizuki had landed. Over there, the smoke was still present. Taking advantage of the smoke, Naruto ran to the location and delivered a right punch that was charged with ki. They caught the punch. Mizuki held Naruto's fist tightly as he attempted to back away. Something was standing where he believed Mizuki to be when the smoke cleared. The monster had pointed ears that were longer than a human's. Instead of nails, the creature had claws. It had black stripes and dark brown fur that was growing all over. When the monster smiled, its hideous pointed teeth were visible. It was salivating. Its eyes had been altered to look like cats. Mizuki's voice was obscured by the monsters. Now for round 2, it said. After drawing Naruto closer, the monster used his right fist to strike him in the chest. The blow was more powerful than ever. The lower portion of Naruto's backbone would be fractured if he lacked steel bones. With great speed, Naruto flew backwards. He intended to continue flying, but Mizuki got in the way. He fled where he had been and resurfaced behind Naruto. He kicked Naruto in the head, sending him flying upwards, and drew his right foot back. Increased strength, increased speed, this Mizuki doesn't play, was all that was on his mind. Naruto looked up to see Mizuki already up there, his left foot extended with the heel directly over his head. Naruto's thoughts were likely disturbed by his attack. The kick sent Naruto crashing to the ground, creating a crater as he landed. Naruto let out a painful groan but had to interrupt himself. He rolled to his left, just avoiding Mizuki's left punch as it came down. There was a foot deep hole where Mizuki's arm struck, but Naruto barely avoided it. Mizuki saw Naruto and punched him in the face, preventing him from getting all the way up on one knee. After the attack, Naruto flew backwards and struck a tree. Naruto couldn't stop himself from falling from the tree because he was in too much pain. He fell in a shattered heap to the ground. Mizuki was standing there with his foot up when Naruto looked up. He appeared on the verge of colliding with Naruto's head. He replied, "Any last words, you demon filth?" A voice from the treetops was that of an unknown female. "I got some. Spirit arrow," it exclaimed, and a yellow arrow emerged from the treetops. Mizuki was struck in the neck by the arrow that flew in his direction. Then the arrow detonated. Mizuki appeared fine after the smoke cleared, with the exception of some burned fur near the arrow's impact. "Want some more? Spirit shot," said the voice. It was the same attack that Naruto used to blast Mizuki earlier. Mizuki easily stopped the blast by raising his arm to block it. "Heaven's wrath," the voice then exclaimed. A white ball of energy headed for Mizuki as it sailed through the air. Mizuki waited for it to pass. The fur on his forearms was not going to grow back anytime soon, but it did work. "You can't defeat me. This no-talent demon couldn't. What makes you think you can?" Mizuki quipped, laughing. Behind him, Mizuki heard someone say, "No talent? We'll see about that." Mizuki saw who it was without turning around. Nevertheless, he turned around. His face was then brought back to Naruto's right fist as he did so. However, this punch was much more powerful. He sailed back into a tree after the attack. Super Naruto was standing there when Mizuki leapt back up onto his feet. Naruto ran in Mizuki's direction. However, he was able to see Naruto run at him thanks to the power boost from the second-level curse seal. Mizuki made the decision to meet Naruto halfway. He dropped to his hands and knees and ran ahead, twice as fast as he usually would have. He pressed his fists for power as he and Naruto met in the center. The attacker of Mizuki fell from the trees as they were engaged in a push-of-war with Naruto. Who didn't see that coming? It was Hinata. She sprinted to Iruka's location and touched his chest. The kunai was still stuck in his chest when she removed it. She exclaimed, "Mystical palm jutsu," as she directed chakra into her hands. A green glow surrounded her hand. The wound began to close as soon as she touched it. It healed flawlessly in a matter of seconds. When Hinata turned around, she saw that Naruto and Mizuki had finished pushing one another. They withdrew and struck each other across the face. Mizuki punched him, and Naruto fainted. He tried to punch him when he reappeared behind Mizuki. But Mizuki ducked. Naruto leaned back and evaded Mizuki's attempt to headbutt him as he leapt to his feet. Naruto launched ki blasts and leapt backwards. Mizuki was struck, but he was hardly impacted because of the curse seal's second level. Hinata was directly behind Naruto when he turned to look behind him. He stated, "You chose a great time to join the party, Hinata. I would have been taking a dirt nap if it wasn't for you, thanks." She laughed and replied, "I know. I'm just doing my job of saving your butt. What was this, like the 12th time? 11th time. That business with that assassin doesn't count," scowled Naruto. A tiny smirk appeared on Naruto's face. He turned to see Mizuki charging at him as the smoke from the ki blasts cleared. He turned and gave Hinata a wink. He stated, "I think we should do the feint and blast." According to Hinata, "I do too." As Naruto charged Mizuki, Hinata began to charge and launch an attack. He continued to charge until he was 3 feet away from Mizuki. Naruto vanished. When he did, Hinata yelled, "Heaven's wrath," and launched a white attack that struck Mizuki squarely in the face. Mizuki flew away from the blast's force. Naruto showed up next to him when he landed. With a hand seal, Naruto declared, "Kage Bunshin no Jutsu." Suddenly, 9 more Narutos surrounded the circle. Each one cupped a hand next to their hip. Energy was charged until it became red or orange. Fire style, solar destruction, was the next thing they said before firing. All of the focused spiritual and solar energy beams advanced, striking Mizuki squarely in the face. The Kage Bunshins vanished after a short while when their power ran out. Naruto looked into the smoke of what remained after letting the attack die. There was Mizuki when the smoke cleared. This second-level curse seal form was knocked out of him. He lay there unconscious and his clothes burned. After running down, Naruto picked up Mizuki. Lifting the forbidden scroll, Hinata assisted Iruka in standing up. With a smile, Naruto approached Hinata and said, "Thanks again. I don't know where I would be without you, Hinata." Grinning, Hinata turned to face Naruto. Hinata and Naruto continued to stare at one another as if they were experiencing an out-of-body sensation. They seemed to be living in a fantasy world. Iruka grinned when she saw this. "Nothing is more romantic than your first true love," he reflected. "They should invite me to their wedding, I hope. But it's time to end this now." Iruka replied, "Come on you lovebirds. We gotta get this traitor and this scroll back to the village. You can stare at each other later." They realized they had been staring at each other for some time after Iruka's statement knocked them out of their reverie. They blushed and quickly turned away from one another. Laughing, Iruka said, "Come on already." Naruto and Hinata rushed ahead, catching up to Iruka. They glanced at each other every now and then as they made their way back to the village. Iruka was with Naruto and Hinata at Ichiraku's. Mizuki had just been taken to the hospital by them. He was constantly watched and under Anbu guard. Naruto created a clone and instructed it to bring the Hokage the Forbidden Scroll. Later on, Iruka offered to cover Ichiraku's. While eating, Naruto and Hinata avoided looking at each other. Iruka responded, "Guys, there's something I gotta say. Now that you're genin, things will get a whole lot harder. The enemies you'll have to fight won't hold back. They will be trying to kill you. You'll be entering the lonely life of a shinobi, an assassin. You have to expect danger everywhere you go. It's a really hard job, and I hope that you two are ready for it." "Don't worry, Iruka. Sensei. Of course we're ready. I'll become the greatest ninja ever, and you'll be there to support me, won't you?" Naruto smirked to himself. Iruka laughed as she said, "Naruto, you know that I support you. But I'm not the ones you'll have to convince that you're the best. You'll have to convince the villagers and everyone against you that you're the best choice to lead them." As Naruto put it, "Don't worry about me, I can." As Hinata put it, "I hope you can." Naruto and Hinata left the ramen stand to continue their training after finishing their meal. Hinata and Naruto have been training together every day since Naruto taught her about ki. After he showed her how to manage the energy, they pooled their minds and developed numerous methods by fusing their intelligence with a childlike imagination. When they reached the center of the training area, Naruto said, "Okay, Hinata. Show me what you got." Hinata stooped slightly and focused. She began to lose her power. The wind her power created caused her clothes to begin blowing. She had an aura when she stopped. The blazing aura was white in the center and dark blue at the end. Her words were, "How's this?" Naruto let out a whistle. "That's great, Hinata. You're getting really strong. Now I've been racking my brain for new ideas for attacks, and I came up with one while I was waiting on Mizuki last night. You remember that show we watched when we were little kids?" "You mean Power Rangers?" Hinata asked after searching her mind for a response. Naruto replied, "Yeah, you know how the guy in white could fly." Hinata saw where this was going and grinned a little. Naruto replied, "Well, I thought we could try flying like them. Think about it, Hinata. How many ninja do you know who can fly?" After giving it some consideration, Hinata added, "Well, actually none. It can't be any different than anything else we can do. Let's try it." Naruto gave a small grin and said, "Cool. Now when I was trying it before Mizuki came, I was able to levitate myself off the ground a few feet. What you have to do is..." Hinata tried it after being told the main idea. She focused and managed to float several feet off the ground. She and Naruto made another attempt after landing. They continued to rise. They were able to fly with ease after increasing their practice. They were levitating over some of the forest's tallest trees, performing cartwheels and backflips. If you're wondering how they can do that, that's because they've been manipulating ki for years, so it shouldn't be too difficult to get it to fly. Before long, they were racing across the woods. Naruto and Hinata began their training after landing because they were bored. Hinata's strength increased tremendously with Naruto's assistance. She gained a lot of muscle and was able to easily lift fully grown men who were twice her body weight. The two visited the Hokage Tower after training that day. They had 3 weeks to do as they pleased after graduating from the academy. However, in order to obtain their ninja license, they had to be photographed and granted emancipation. The two made the decision to finish their tasks at this time. They proceeded to the Hokage's office after taking their photo. As proof of their legal emancipation, they presented their citizenship documents and ninja licenses, which were stamped by the Hokage. A child burst into the Hokage's office just as Naruto and Hinata were ready to depart. "Your time is through, Grandpa." "I'll take that hat then I'll become Hokage." The child yelled as he ran toward the Hokage, slipping on his enormous scarf while he was running. The child was brandishing a shuriken. The child's head struck the wooden floor as he fell forward. Hinata and Naruto simply burst out laughing at that. The child felt ashamed when he saw them laughing. You can blame Naruto for tripping him because he was the one closest to him. Naruto replied, "I didn't trip you, kid. You fell over your own scarf, you klutz." The child began to shout at Naruto. He stated, "Shut up. I know you tripped me, now apologize." Naruto was now beginning to lose his temper. He had been held accountable for a number of things that he had never done in his life, and he wasn't going to allow some snotty child to hold him accountable. Before a man in all black and black sunglasses entered, Naruto grabbed the child by the collar and was ready to punch him. He said, "Drop the grandson of the Hokage, you filth," after noticing what Naruto was doing. Naruto glanced at the man. then at the child, and finally at the Hokage. "This snot-nosed punk is your grandson?" he asked, his face bewildered. The child laughed and replied, "Let me guess. You're gonna be like the other punks in this village and kiss my ass since I'm the Hokage's grandson." The Hokage's gaze grew wide. He was saying, "Konohamaru, don't use that kind of language." Konohamaru, the child's current name, disregarded his grandfather. The child closed his eyes and forced a smile, anticipating that he would be put down, apologized to, and watched as the man fled. That was not the case, which was unfortunate for him. The child crashed into the Hokage's desk after Naruto punched him in the head. Naruto replied, "I don't care if you were the Hokage's grandmother. If you don't respect me, then don't expect me to respect you, punk." The fact that the demon struck the Hokage's grandson horrified the man in black. The man took out a kunai and attempted to stab Naruto, but the blade passed through a ghostly transparent form of Naruto before it could reach him. Naruto gave the man a quick tap on the shoulder. He heard Naruto shout, "Spirit tags," as he turned. 10 punches were then delivered to the man's chest. As if Naruto had simply tapped him, they were extremely light. The Junin said, "What the hell was that?" after emerging unharmed. "Spirit tags, ignite," said Naruto with a sly smile. Then the man's chest began to glow yellow. The light became more and more intense. Then the Junin was blown out of the window by the explosion of the glow. "Who the hell was that closet homosexual?" asked Naruto, glancing at the Hokage. Konohamaru gazed at Naruto, in awe of his actions. He blew Ebisu Sensei away to the Hokage monument. How did he accomplish that? That was incredible. The Hokage chuckled to himself and remarked, "That was Ebisu. He's my grandson's special Junin tutor." Naruto responded, "Good. Tell that catcher to stay away from me. I won't hold back next time." Naruto had spent his entire life being treated badly by people like him. He was furious to see how deeply ingrained that prejudice was in the ninja system. He would no longer tolerate it. With Hinata at his heels, Naruto left the Hokage's office. They were unaware that Konohamaru had followed them from behind after sneaking out of his grandfather's office. Actually, they were aware. They simply chose not to respond. Konohamaru followed the two ninja as they walked down the street. His disguise, which resembled a box painted to resemble a rock, allowed him to follow them. To blend in, Konohamaru would take out a sheet painted the same color as the fence whenever they passed one. Regretfully, he held it up incorrectly, which actually made him stand out more. Both of the ninja Konohamaru's pursuers witnessed his actions. Naruto whispered to Hinata, "What the hell is wrong with this kid? No rock is shaped perfectly square. And he's holding up the fence tarp wrong. How stupid does this kid think we are?" Hinata gave Naruto a backhand slap on the head. She yelled at him, "Don't make fun of him. He's just a beginner in the ninja arts. He can't even get into the academy yet. Do you remember how you were when you first started learn to be a ninja?" Naruto sighed and replied, "Yeah, I kept messing up. It took a long time for me to get things right. I probably got caught 100 times at least before I got better." Hinata replied, "Konohamaru is exactly like you. Right now, he doesn't have any experience. He's a beginner. I bet it would really make him happy if you gave him a few pointers." Naruto replied, "No, Hinata. Did you see what that kid did? He barged into the Hokage's office without any respect to the Hokage or whoever he may be talking to." Hinata let out a sigh. Naruto didn't even notice it because the child looked so much like him. She stated, "Naruto, you interrupt the Hokage in a meeting once a week, at least. You always barge in there, with no respect to the Hokage or whoever he may be talking to." Naruto stated, "He blamed me for tripping him when it was completely his fault." Hinata gave a small smile. She replied, "Do you remember last week? You loaned me your sword to practice with since mine was in the shop getting repaired. I gave it back to you, and then 2 days later you accused me of stealing it. I go to your house and find your sword under your bed. I forgot I put it under there for safekeeping. I'm sorry," Naruto said, wearing a sheepish expression. Hinata replied, "It's okay, but you accused me of something I didn't do, just like Konohamaru accused you of something you didn't do." Naruto's advantage was eroding. Due to his failure to train Konohamaru, he was losing ground. He stated, he started acting all smug about being related to the Hokage. Hinata stated, "His grandfather is one of the best ninja in the world. Can you blame him for being proud of his grandpa? What he did was wrong, I admit that. But he's a little kid. He still has time to improve. And if someone with a good heart like you doesn't help him, he might never improve." Naruto feigned a pout while closing his eyes. He responded with, "Why can't I ever win an argument?" "You lose so many," Hinata remarked, laughing. "I expected you to be used to that by now." Naruto gave a mocking laugh. His words were real funny. Konohamaru began to follow Naruto and Hinata as they set out for a training ground. They chose to flaunt themselves a bit when they arrived. As they waited for the other to start, Naruto and Hinata faced one another. The trees around the training ground were losing their leaves to the wind. Their glares hardened as a leaf flew between them. The leaf's impact on the ground served as a silent cue for both to start. Moving more quickly than Konohamaru could see them, the two vanished. For a brief moment, they reappeared in the center. There was tension and rage on both of their faces as their elbows pressed against one another. Then they vanished once more. When they returned, Hinata's forearm had deflected Naruto's kick. In an instant, they vanished once more. That's how it continued. They would resurface for a moment and then vanish. Konohamaru could hear their blows through the air, but they were moving too quickly for him to hear. Every time they sounded like thunderclaps. The trees moved slightly with every shockwave. Konohamaru watched in wonder. How are they doing that? He asked himself. The locations where Naruto and Hinata first appeared were also where they resurfaced. Naruto's knees were bent. He held his hand's shoulder, width apart at his chest. There was a strain on his face. Then there began to grow a ball of energy, dark red. The ball swiftly expanded from its initial size of the top of a sharpened pencil. It grew until Naruto could barely hold it in his hands. His face was taking on an increasingly strained expression. Hinata was doing something similar as well. The right side of her body was facing Naruto, and he was standing erect. She had her arm outstretched, palm visible. She directed energy into her palm, imitating Naruto's technique. The attack began as a tiny ball about the size of the tip of a sharpened pencil. However, it rapidly grew and turned black. Hinata struggled to collect and manage the tremendous energy for the attack as it grew to the size of a beach ball. Additionally, Naruto was stepping up his attack. When it was prepared, Naruto shouted, "Destruction Wave," and thrust his hands forward. Hinata also dropped her blow. "Spirit Shot," he shouted as he pushed her hand forward after slightly retraction of her arm. As Konohamaru watched them gather energy, his amazement at what they were doing grew every second. There is so much energy that it is actually visible. I believe that only the strongest jutsu could accomplish that. I need to learn that from them. Doing so will give me the advantage over Grandpa, allowing me to take on the role of Hokage. As they moved forward, the attacks collided in midair. The attacks were at odds with one another. The two combatants began to pour increasing amounts of energy into their destructive orbs. Naruto's energy soon began to flow in Hinata's direction. Hinata began to sense the energy pushing against one another in a shockwave. She inhaled deeply and pushed her energy forward, bringing it into closer proximity to Naruto. Naruto began to resist. The energy balls were still colliding in the center. In an attempt to gain the upper hand, Naruto and Hinata began to move forward. In the end, they were roughly 5 feet apart. The two were blown back by the force of the collision's shockwaves. The distance between them when they landed was greater. The two fighters were on the ground, nearly unconscious. Naruto managed to utter the words, "Hinata, truce?" Hinata was on the verge of saying, "Hell no." But her stomach began to hurt even more. Her response was, "Yeah, okay." The two teenagers got up, their clothes ripped and partially burned. After turning to face Konohamaru, Naruto remarked, "Okay, Konohamaru, we know you're out there." Konohamaru exclaimed, "That was so cool," as he emerged from the trees. With a laugh, Naruto replied, "Yeah, I know. Can you teach me those attacks?" Konohamaru then asked. Naruto quickly became solemn and uttered the words, "No, I can't." Then, furious, Konohamaru exclaimed, "Why not?" Naruto replied, "I can't because you don't have enough energy. It took me and Hinata 6 years of hard work, dedication, sweat, blood, and tears to be able to use these attacks. If I taught these to you, you would only die." After casting a sorrowful glance down at Naruto, Konohamaru remarked, "Then teach me. Put me through the same thing that you two went through." Naruto's expression changed to one of shock. He replied, "Why would you want that, Konohamaru? It's not easy at all." Konohamaru stated, "I will do anything to learn these. All my life, I've been called the honorable grandson. That's the only way people know me. No one knows my name. I don't even have an identity to these people. I want to be my own person. I don't want to only be known as the third Hokage's grandson. I want to be my own person." Naruto noticed the level of resolve in Konohamaru's eyes as he looked into them. When he was about to decline, he gave in and said, "You know what, Konohamaru? I'll train you. But first, I want you to promise me something." Konohamaru was about to respond, "Sure, anything," but he suddenly had a dubious expression and said, "What?" Naruto was dead serious as he narrowed his eyes at Konohamaru. He stated, "These jutsu we're gonna teach you, they're only able to be done by us. I want you to swear to me and Hinata on the honor of the Sarutobi clan that you won't tell anyone about this unless we say that you can. Also, I want you to swear that you'll never use these jutsu on a fellow leaf ninja or on a ninja of an allied village, unless you have no choice. These jutsu are very dangerous and even the smallest one can seriously damage someone. I don't want you to kill an ally." Konohamaru got to his feet and snatched up a kunai. He used the kunai to cut his palm, causing blood to drip onto the floor. With resolute eyes, he turned to face Naruto and declared, "On the honor of the Sarutobi clan, I, Konohamaru Sarutobi, hereby swear that I will never use these jutsu on an ally, and that I will never tell anyone these secrets unless you or Hinata say I can." "Okay then, Konohamaru, let's start the teaching," Naruto said with a smile. Konohamaru joyfully leapt into the air. "Konohamaru, please sit down," Naruto said. Konohamaru jumped on it like a fish to water after being explained the components of chakra and how to extract ki from it. He had a lot more chakra than other children his age, it turned out. Konohamaru could easily shoot off tiny balls of ki that detonate upon impact after a few hours of practice. Naruto took great pride in Konohamaru. He was adjusting to this more rapidly than Naruto. Naruto was saying, "You're doing great, Konohamaru. Now, I want you to focus more energy into the attack. When you feel that you can't hold it anymore, I want you to shoot it off." Indeed, Konohamaru did. He directed all of his energy into his hand. It increased steadily until he began to feel the ball's heat. Now it was as large as his head. Hit was just as big as a baseball before. It was fired at a nearby tree by Konohamaru. It was struck by the attack, which destroyed it along with other nearby trees. Hinata exclaimed with a whistle, "Great job, Konohamaru. You destroyed those trees. It took me an entire week to destroy a single tree." Naruto began to beam and replied, "You should feel happy, Konohamaru. When I and Hinata started we didn't have a teacher. Hell, even the Hokage didn't know what we were talking about. We went forward on our own. We took a lot of dead ends that almost killed us. Now you don't have to. Now, how do you feel, Konohamaru?" Turning to face Naruto, Konohamaru remarked, "I feel great, I could still go on." Naruto continued, "Okay then, this time, I want you to focus ki in your hand, but this time, instead of releasing it in a ball of energy, release it as a beam. The beam has a more centralized area of damage. Where the ki ball can blow the skin off of someone's entire torso, the ki beam can put a hole through their body. Aim the attack at that tree right there." Naruto was pointing to a random tree to the right. In line with Naruto's advice, Konohamaru concentrated the energy. After that, he released the attack while continuing to feed energy into it, turning it into an energy beam. The tree and the other 5 behind it were pierced by the beam. Whistling, Naruto remarked, "Konohamaru, you're a prodigy at this." "Thanks," Konohamaru said. The black-clad ninja from the Hokage's office arrived just as Naruto was ready to teach him something else. He replied, "Demon, what are you doing to the Hokage's grandson?" Naruto said, "Konohamaru, who the hell is that?" after glancing at him. According to Konohamaru, that's my old teacher Ebisu. Ebisu replied, "Hand over the Hokage's grandson, you demon filth." Konohamaru replied, "No, Ebisu. You don't even teach me anything. I heard you talking to your friend. You only took the job for the extra money. You're not a teacher. Naruto has taught me more in one day than you have in the entire month of teaching me." Ebisu replied, "Konohamaru, what about your dream of becoming Hokage? My teaching is the quickest way to become Hokage. It's the quickest shortcut." Naruto replied, "Shut up, Ebisu. The kid said he didn't want to go with you. Why don't you try someone more your age, pedophile?" "You'll pay for that, you demon," smirked Ebisu. Naruto replied, "Oh, really? Try to stop this, Kage Bunshin no Jutsu." 30 Narutos appeared at once. After laughing, Ebisu remarked, "You'll find me harder to defeat than that fool Ebisu." With a sly smile, Naruto said, "Well then, bring it." "Gladly." Ebisu exclaimed before leaping from the tree he was perched on. He began attacking the clones after drawing 2 kunai. Ebisu initially believed that this would be easy, but he soon realized how drastically his idea and reality differed. Naruto was able to fight. He initially believed that the shadow clones were incapable of performing many of the taijutsu techniques. He was being held back by them. They moved very fast, too. Not even one had been dispelled by him yet. The original Naruto leapt further back as the shadow clones handled Ebisu. Naruto bowed his knees and directed energy into his palm as he turned to face Konohamaru and said, "Take notes, Konohamaru. Soon, this is what you'll be able to do." The orb of energy turned blood red. Naruto squinted as he concentrated on Ebisu. He shouted, "Demon's Rage," and launched the attack when he realized Ebisu was ignoring him. The assault proceeded. Any cage bunchen that stood in its way was blown up by it. When it got to Ebisu, it exploded, sending him hurtling into the air. They had no idea where. To strike the Hokage monument, most likely. "Naruto, why are you able to use them on allies but not me?" Konohamaru asked, his face bewildered. Naruto replied, "Because, Konohamaru, I'm a master at these jutsu. I know how to drain all the power out of it, so it will only send them flying, but it won't do any other damage. You haven't been taught that yet. And until you do, I expect you to keep your vow." According to Konohamaru, "Okay then, boss." Naruto was about to inquire about the boss's mat when the writer gave him a signal. Because the author wanted to finish the story, Naruto brought Konohamaru and Hinata to Ichiraku's without bothering to inquire about the boss's affairs. Naruto and Hinata made the decision to end their time together after hanging out with Konohamaru. The two reached the Hyuga compound's front gates and decided to walk Hinata home. The guards allowed the two to pass because Naruto was a frequent visitor to the compound. Naruto replied, "I gotta go get some sleep for tomorrow, Hinata-chan. So, I'll see you tomorrow?" Hinata replied, "Yeah." She then made an effort to avoid looking into Naruto's eyes. Something arose within her, and she thought she would lose it if she looked into his eyes. She had already come to the conclusion that she was attracted to the warrior before her. The issue was that she was too terrified of the repercussions to act on her feelings. For some reason, she nearly lost the tenuous grip she had on her romantic feelings today when she saw him in Konohamaru. She eventually reached a breaking point. Without considering the repercussions, she bent down and gave Naruto a kiss on the lips. Her eyes were wide when she drew back. What the devil just did was what she was mentally shouting to herself. She simply said, "Bye," and turned to her room, closing the door behind her in an attempt to cut the moment short. Naruto was unable to move or speak as he stood there, his eyes as large as a deer's in headlights. He simply remained there, his jaw pressed to the floor. "So, she finally kissed you, huh, Naruto?" a member of the branch family said as they passed. Naruto turned to see who had said it. "Shut the hell up, Neji." Neji responded, "What's the matter? You've liked her since you were 10. She's loved you since she was 9. I'm surprised it took you guys this long to actually admit it." According to Naruto, "My love life is none of your business." "Love life, huh? It sounds like you two are getting serious," Neji remarked with a sly smile. "Mind your own business, Neji," said Naruto. "Okay then, Naruto. Just don't make my uncle into a grandpa too soon," Neji said, still grinning, and turned to leave. "Neji." Naruto called out to him, but Neji ignored him, after muttering to himself, "White-eyed bastard." Naruto turned to leave. Naruto left to go to his house after completing some light training at a training ground. Naruto and Hinata met at the training ground the following day. Naruto went home, avoiding the subject all day. For a whole week, the two felt uncomfortable around one another. Following a period of training, Naruto made the decision to pose the query he had been considering since that evening. "Hinata, what happened last week?" Hinata understood what he was discussing. She also didn't know why she did that, to be honest. It was just what seemed to be right. She allowed her feelings to control her. For more than 2 years, she had been in love with Naruto, but she did nothing about it. She let her feelings flow because she was sick of suppressing them. "What do you mean?" Hinata asked, pretending she didn't understand. "When you kissed me. Why did you do that?" asked Naruto as he approached Hinata more closely. With a sigh, Hinata turned her gaze to the ground rather than Naruto's eyes. At some point, she simply took it in. "Because Naruto, I guess because I've been wanting to since I met you. When you saved me from that cloud Junin years ago, I started feeling safe being near you. I guess that, after years and years of being by your side, I started falling more and more for you. Last night, my feelings for you became too much to handle, and I needed to let them go. I think that's why I kissed you." Hinata's courage surged as she looked up into Naruto's eyes. She forced herself to say what she was going to say next. "The reason I kissed you, Naruto, is because, I love you," she said, looking directly into Naruto's eyes. The more Hinata spoke, the more Naruto's heart began to race. Regarding Hinata, his feelings remained constant, but because he had never experienced true love, he struggled to express his love for someone. He was left an orphan. The only affection he received came from the grandfatherly Sandaime and the brotherly Iruka. He never experienced the sensation of falling in love. However, he felt that if falling in love felt like anything, it was the same as how he felt for Hinata, since he had fallen in love with her when he was 10 years old. And the feeling only grew stronger after spending so much time with her. When he was around her, his passion grew from a tiny flicker to an uncontrollable fervor that begged to be let loose. He felt that he could no longer conceal the emotion, even though he was accustomed to doing so. To tell the truth, each time he saw her, his heart skipped a beat. He was so excited to be around her that he got goosebumps. However, he never expressed his feelings to her since he was unsure of them. He didn't want it to be something else entirely and not tell her it was love. However, the more she spoke, Naruto's emotions began to grow. Naruto briefly lost control of his emotions when she declared that she believed she loved him. This was sufficient for him to tell her, "I love you too, Hinata." Naruto was at a loss for what to do next and was mentally berating himself for the emotional lapse. He allowed his feelings to take over once more as he looked into Hinata's eyes. Naruto leaned in, doing what he wanted to do. Hinata also leaned in. They shared a quick kiss in the center. However, that kiss gave them all the information they required. The new couple felt complete as they kissed again, deeper this time. "Hinata, does this mean that we're a couple now?" Naruto asked, pulling away. Hinata said, "Depends, do you want to be?" after glancing at Naruto. The first thing Naruto said was, "Sure, do you?" "Yes," Hinata replied. "Then I guess we're officially a couple now, Hinata," Naruto said with a smile. Naruto kissed her and said, "Now, let's get back to training." However, they were interrupted by a well-known voice asking, "So, the two weaklings of the class hook up?" The two snarled as they turned to face Sasuke, who was standing where the voice had come from. He continued, "I guess everyone can find love, even you too. I was having a good day until you interfered in it, Sasuke. What the hell do you want?" moaned Naruto. "According to Sasuke, I want a rematch," Naruto replied. "You say that every time I whoop your ass, and every time I win the rematch. When will you learn? Or are you a masochist or something?" "According to Sasuke, I said we fight. Now," Naruto replied. "I've beaten your ass like 90 times already. Just give up." Sasuke began performing hand seals while glaring at Naruto. Naruto sighed and, "I guess he'll never learn," he muttered. Throwing 10 fireballs at Naruto, Sasuke shouted, "Fire style. Phoenix flower jutsu. Out." These were roughly 1.5 times the normal size of the Phoenix flower fireballs, Naruto observed. Naruto extended his hand and used his ki to surround himself and Hinata in a protective dome. Nothing happened when the fireballs struck the dome. "Is that the best you got?" asked Naruto. "Not by a long shot." Sasuke growled and turned on his Sharingan. He went for the forward approach and charged at Naruto. When Naruto saw Sasuke doing this, he threw a ki blast at his feet. Unconsciously, Sasuke flipped the yellow ball of ki over and stood up straight to confront Naruto. However, Naruto had left. Hinata was the only one standing there. "Where did the loser go?" he demanded of her. Hinata let out a sigh. "You'd think that since you're from the elite Uchiha clan, you'd have some common sense to look behind you when you can't find an opponent." Sasuke turned around, but Naruto was out of sight. Sasuke uttered the words, "He's not back," as he turned back to Hinata. Naruto got in his way and punched him in the face, so he didn't finish his sentence. After being knocked backward, Sasuke managed to get up and stand, staring at Naruto with angry eyes. Naruto made a fist out of his right hand and then held out his thumb and index finger at a 90-degree angle to one another. Then, to give the impression that he was holding a phony gun, he bent his thumb at a right angle. "Bullet shot," he uttered after pointing his fictitious gun at Sasuke. Sasuke was smashed in the stomach by a small amount of ki that flew out of the tip of his index finger. Unprepared for the pain, Sasuke stumbled back 5 feet from the blow. With a sly smile, Naruto shot Sasuke in the forehead with another, weaker blow. Sasuke saw the attack coming and used his Sharingan to block it, but he was unable to get away in time and was struck in the forehead, which knocked him to his ass. Naruto burst out laughing and unleashed another full power blast at Sasuke. Rolling back, Sasuke avoided the attack. Knowing that Sasuke would avoid it, Naruto fired off another one, but this time he didn't fully charge it. Sasuke avoided the blast by rolling to the right, but Naruto was not disappointed. Naruto then began to aim at Sasuke's feet, causing him to leap and avoid them. Because Sasuke appeared to be from an old cartoon, Naruto burst out laughing. Naruto began using his left hand to shoot bullet shots as well, which doubled Naruto's amusement and forced Sasuke to move twice as quickly. Naruto charged Sasuke and attempted to punch him in the face after growing weary of forcing him to dance. Sasuke ducked beneath the blow and punched Naruto in the stomach. Sasuke and Naruto both hesitated due to the pain. It seems that Sasuke was just as hurt by the hit as Naruto was. Naruto blocked Sasuke's right fist and then punched him in the stomach. Sasuke was knocked back on his ass once more after the punch made contact. Naruto began mocking Sasuke by saying, "Wasn't the Sharingan supposed to make it so that you were never hit? Either you're not used to the Sharingan, or those things I heard were extremely exaggerated. I think it was the latter." Sasuke screamed at Naruto and began to attack him once more, punching Naruto in the opposite side of his face after kicking him in the face. Naruto was knocked to the ground by Sasuke's 360-degree heel kick after he leapt into the air. Swiftly getting back to his feet, Naruto deflected Sasuke's blow. Naruto kicked Sasuke in the chest, knocking him back after dodging his second blow. After performing more hand seals, Sasuke exhaled a great fireball jutsu. Anticipating this, Naruto leapt back and used the grand fireball to blast Sasuke. Sasuke was knocked back when the blast struck him in the chest. Naruto had a spirit sword formed on his right arm and aimed it at Sasuke's neck before he could do anything else. He also had his right foot on Sasuke's chest. Naruto replied, "I guess that's yet another battle you lose, Sasuke." After removing his foot from Sasuke's chest, Naruto turned to leave. He shortened the blade slightly and shifted his right arm to the front of his body as he was leaving. As anticipated, Sasuke pulled out several kunai and hurled them at Naruto's evading body. Naruto heard the kunai whistle through the air, reached out with the blade, spun around, and cut each one in half. "You're way too predictable, Sasuke," Naruto remarked. Angrier than ever, Sasuke attempted to use another grand fireball jutsu on Naruto. Phasing out of the grand fireball's path, Naruto simply activated his transformation in silence. He came up behind Sasuke and knocked him unconscious by punching him in the back of the head with his increased strength. After dropping the transformation, Naruto approached Hinata. After deciding to move their training to a different training ground, they both took off. Someone woke Sasuke up a few hours later. This man's chin was scarred in the shape of an X. The right side of his face and his head were wrapped in gauze. His right arm appeared to be missing. "Who the hell are you?" asked Sasuke. The individual replied, "I am a friend. I saw your conflict with the Uzumaki boy." Sasuke gave a scowl. Reminding him of his losses to Naruto was something he detested. "What of it?" he asked. The man laughed and said, "I know you have power, Sasuke. I can sense it within you. You want to unlock this power to kill your older brother, Itachi. But you can use the power for far more than that." Sasuke looked at the man curiously. "Go on," he said. The man replied, "I've sensed the power inside you, Sasuke. It completely dwarfs that of the Uzumaki boy. The power you have inside of you can transform you from a man to a god. I can help you realize this. Join me, Sasuke, and together, we can make not only the Uzumaki boy and Itachi cower at your feet, but the entire world as well." Sasuke considered it. Is Naruto also trembling at Itachi's feet? A whole world, more than that. He might grow into a god with greater might than the Biju. More potent than anything the universe has ever seen. According to Sasuke, I'm in. The individual replied, "Good. I think this is the beginning of a beautiful partnership." 1 week later, Naruto and Hinata showed up at the academy at their class 1 week after confessing their feelings to one another, prepared to be assigned to a genin team. Iruka gave a touching speech that the author will not type in after everyone else had arrived. Following her remarks, Iruka replied, "Anyway, here's the team assignments. Team 7 is Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno, and Kiba Inuzuka. Your Junin instructor will be Kakashi Hitaki. Team 8 will be Naruto Uzumaki, Hinata Hyuga, and Shino Aburame. Your Junin instructor will be Kurenai Yuhi. Team 10 will be Choji Akamichi, Shikamaru Nara, and Ino Yamanaka. Your Junin instructor will be Asuma Sarutobi. Any questions?" "Who were the rookie shinobi and kunoichi of the year?" a child asked. Iruka was going to leave out that small detail, but with everyone. "What the hell? The rookie shinobi of the year is Naruto Uzumaki. The rookie kunoichi of the year is Hinata Hyuga," he said, pleading with them to tell him. Both Naruto and Hinata blushed slightly when they were revealed. They never anticipated topping any list, but they did anticipate placing in the top 5. However, they weren't the only ones. Sakura led all of Sasuke's fangirls in a tirade when their names were revealed. Sakura shouted, "What are you talking about, Iruka? I got the best grades of the girls. And it's so obvious that Sasuke-kun got the title of Shinobi of the Year. What kind of joke are you trying to play?" Iruka gave Sakura a fierce look. This is what he expected to happen. "It's Iruka Sensei to you, Sakura. First of all, I have my gradebook right here. Sasuke Uchiha, Test 1, 78, Test 2, 71, Test 8, 54. Need I go on? Sasuke's highest test score for the entire last semester was an 80. Sakura Haruno, your highest score for the last semester is a 72. In contrast, Naruto and Hinata have both received perfect scores on at least 8 of the semester's final 20 tests. It's easy to see why they're the best in the class based on these grades. Sasuke and you graduated 7th and 8th in your class, respectively. I've known people like Sasuke all my life. Sasuke expected that his family name would convince me to change his grades to the best of the class. I'm not biased like that and I'm not gonna let Sasuke worm his way out of a grade he deserves. Sasuke did 70% work, so he got a 70% average score. That's the end of it. Sasuke and Sakura were furious. Those two losers have no right to claim their places as the best. Instead of those two losers, they were destined to have the places of the best kunoichi and shinobi. Although the year was already over, Sasuke would have gone to the council and insisted that the scores be changed. He was powerless to do anything. He simply chose to brood in silence. Iruka replied, "Now if there's no other questions, you are dismissed. Come back here in 1 hour to meet your senseis." Then, in a shunshin, Iruka walked out of the room. Sakura confronted Hinata and Naruto just as they were ready to depart. Sakura shouted, "Where the hell do you two think you're going? I know that you cheated on those tests. There's no way you two dumbasses could score higher than me and my Sasuke-kun." Sasuke would have joined her there, but his business partner advised him to remain anonymous for the time being. Hinata replied, "Sakura, shut the hell up. You lost, fair and square. Get over it. You're acting like a psycho bitch." "Is that any different from the way she usually acts?" murmured Naruto. Sakura started to rant again, but Hinata and Naruto ignored her cries and simply walked right by her. Ino stopped them as they passed. "Oh god, more of this. Sasuke-kun this and Sasuke-kun that," Hinata thought. To their surprise, Ino said, "Congratulations, you two deserve the titles." The couple nearly fell because they were so taken aback. "Say that again?" insisted Naruto. Ino replied, "I said congratulations. I saw you two training one day. You two worked your asses off to get that title and you two deserved it." Naruto replied, "I would have thought you would have started screaming your head off like Sakura there." Ino laughed and replied, "I would, but since we graduated, Daddy opened my eyes to a lot of things. Mainly how far I've slacked in my training and how much of a bitch I've been to everybody since Sasuke came into my life. I just want to say that I'm sorry for how I've been acting these past few years. I just want to start over with a clean slate." With a sincere smile, Naruto told Ino, "Don't worry Ino. It's all water under the bridge." After saying, "Thanks," with a smile, Ino walked out of the room. "I'm Kurenai Yuhi. I'm here for Team 8, a woman said as she entered the room an hour later. Shino, Naruto, and Hinata rose and departed the room. They chose to order tea after following Kurenai to a nearby tea shop. While they awaited their tea, Kurenai replied, "Okay guys, I think it's time that we introduced ourselves. I'll go first. My name is Kurenai Yuhi. I usually spend my time gardening, drinking tea, reading, and researching new genjutsu. Some things that piss me off are perverts, people who take my help and advice for granted, and ignorant and cruel people. My dreams for now are helping you guys become the best ninja you can be. How about, you start Shino?" Shino stated, "My name is Shino Aburame. My hobbies are training my bug colony, researching things on new insects, and reading. Things that irritate me are ignorant people and people who talk too much. My dream for the future is taking over as the Aburame clan head after my father." Kurenai replied, "That's a wonderful dream Shino. How about you go next Hinata-san?" Hinata stated, "My name is Hinata Hyuga. My hobbies include training my gentle fist taijutsu, cooking, and spending time with my boyfriend, Naruto. My dislikes are the elders on the Hyuga clan council, the ignorant people of the village, people who use others to get what they want, and others who can't realize that they aren't the center of the universe. My dream is taking over as the Hyuga clan head and abolishing the caged bird seal." Kurenai said, "How about you, Naruto?" with a silent nod. According to Naruto, "My name is Naruto Uzumaki. My hobbies include training my abilities, hanging with my girlfriend, Hinata, and putting Sasuke Uchiha in his place. My dislikes are Sasuke Uchiha, his banshee fangirl Sakura Haruno, Danzo from the Konoha Council, the ignorant people of the village, and traitors. My dream for the future is to become Hokage and protect those I love." Kurenai replied, "That's a wonderful dream Naruto. Now, after you guys finish your tea, I want you to go home and get some good rest. We are going to have a test tomorrow to see if you guys are able to actually become genin. The test you took in the academy was just a preliminary test. The final test will be tomorrow. After finishing their tea, Kurenai and the others made the decision to depart. Something grew in Naruto's chest as they walked away. He made the decision to move to a different training area and instructed the others to continue without him. Once there, he closed his eyes, crossed his legs, and began to meditate. He felt the familiar pull and gave in to it while meditating. He discovered that he was in water when he opened his eyes. He got to his feet and faced the enormous gate. He replied, "All right. I've told you before about that furball. Stop it. Watch what you call me, brat. Even though I'm behind this seal, I could still devour your tiny brain," the Kyuubi said as he arose from his cell. Naruto grinned. He replied, "No, you can't. This seal is a masterpiece. Even with all your power, you wouldn't be able to get out of this." The Kyuubi replied, "You'll be surprised what I can do, little boy. For instance, when the Great 10-tailed demon was split into 9 parts, I got most of his power, allowing me to become king of demons. This seal that your bastard father put in place drains my demonic energy, but doesn't make it into human chakra. I can manipulate what you take from me and use it to destroy your mind and release myself." Naruto replied, "You forgot to factor in one small part to that equation. I meditate regularly. I increase my mental defenses a lot faster than this seal drains your energy. By the time this seal drains enough of your energy to break through those shields, you'll be too weak to do anything about it except lie down and wait for your execution." The Kyuubi replied, "That's what you think. I might not have my body anymore, but I can still control my power enough to defeat you." Naruto replied, "You can control your power, but it will never even be able to hurt me. My father made sure of that." Naruto was snarled at by the Kyuubi. He stated, "You're just like that whore of a mother of yours. You always think you know everything." Naruto's eyes squinted rapidly. He changed into his golden-haired form and blasted the Kyuubi with a tremendous burst of energy. The Kyuubi was knocked back and landed on his back after it struck him in the head. The attack hurt like hell, but it lacked the strength to cause long-term harm. Naruto had bluish-green eyes. However, Naruto's eyes began to turn more bluish-green and red as he glared at the Kyuubi. Additionally, Naruto's eyes turned partially purple as the redness grew stronger the longer he stared at the Kyuubi. "Don't you ever talk about my mother like that," Naruto's voice was distorted. The Kyuubi began to chuckle. He stated, "I knew it. I knew you couldn't keep a hold of it. Soon that power will start to take over Naruto. You'll start to crave the power, then you'll turn into the thing your father never wanted you to be. You'll turn into me. Ha 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 ha." Naruto's gaze expanded. His eyes began to turn red as he gazed into the water. His eyes were initially a mix of red and bluish-green. However, the red began to dominate. Naruto began to calm himself by closing his eyes. The red hue eventually faded. "I'll never turn into you. That, you can bet on," he said, lowering his voice as he turned to face the Kyuubi. Then Naruto cleared his mind and left the Kyuubi alone. He began to breathe heavily as he drew himself out of his reverie. "Maybe I'm not as safe as I thought," Naruto thought to himself. "I must restrain my rage or this furry jerk will take over entirely." After that, Naruto and Hinata reconnected at her home and began training together. Neji emerged from the rear while they were in the midst of training. He stated, "Hinata, some girl is here to see you. She claims to be from your academy class." To find out who it was, Naruto and Hinata went to the door. Ino was the one. Hinata was perplexed. For what reason would Ino wish to see her? Ino replied, "Hinata, Naruto, I need your help." According to Naruto, "With what?" Ino said, "I need to become a better ninja. I told you guys earlier that daddy opened my eyes to a lot of things. They weren't just about my crush on Sasuke. He made me realize that if I didn't start training, I wouldn't last a year in the ninja business." Naruto replied, "Just what the hell did he do that could have made you think over your life this much?" According to Ino, he went to the ninja record center in the Hokage Tower and got me some files on other kunoichi. Kunoichi who became kunoichi because of a guy, like I didn't survive past their first 5 months until they were either raped and killed or sold as sex slaves and never came back. Daddy said that if I didn't start training, he would disown me in addition to permanently removing me from the ninja program. I need your assistance. You two work out a lot. Is there any way you can assist me, please? Hinata gave Naruto a slight nod as he turned to face her and raised an eyebrow. All right, Hinata said as they turned back to face Ino. We can train you. You need to know before you start jumping for joy, Naruto said. You will be trained into the ground by us. Since we were 6 years old, Ino, we have been training. You haven't done much training. We will need to put in a lot of effort to get you back to your ideal state. Ino said, all right. I'll do anything. I want to atone for the mistakes I've made over the years. We'll begin tomorrow at 3 p.m., Naruto stated. Get some sleep for the time being. You'll need it. Naruto remarked, you think we did the right thing? Ino left, thrilled that they had chosen to assist her. Hinata burst out laughing and replied, yes. Naruto was saying, she's gonna damn near die trying to keep up with us. It will benefit her, Hinata said. We need to get her back into shape because she has been skipping training for a while. If you say so, said Naruto, alongside Sasuke. You will need these jutsu when the time comes, said Sasuke, who was in a dark place with Danzo in training. Danzo had been teaching him jutsu that the village wouldn't want Sasuke to know. Keep that in mind, Sasuke-kun. Sasuke had learned the moves quickly with his Sharingan and had been practicing ever since. Danzo had also given Sasuke a Nodashi to learn how to use. Danzo, who was in charge of his training, was pleased because Sasuke's power could bring the entire planet to its knees. He would be their leader, and Danzo would be Sasuke's leader, and Sasuke would be a mindless husk, like a trained dog, waiting for Danzo's commands. With Ino, by no means was Ino a fool. In fact, she had been when she was pursuing Sasuke, but now that her eyes had been opened, she realized how foolish she had been and was attempting to escape the weak, foolish blonde stereotype that she had forced herself into. Her dad, Inoichi Yamanaka, who worked at the torture and interrogation department, sometimes had to delve into people's minds to get information. Along the way, he ran into rape victims and wife beaters, and he still had their memories locked into his head. When he saw how Ino was acting, he decided to show her memories instead of files. Her dad's opening her eyes was not good, and what she told Hinata and Naruto was actually a lie. He showed her the memories of a woman named Katrina Romanji, who had been enamored with the Yondaime Hokage since she was a child and had become a shinobi to gain his favor. However, she was not assigned to his team, and when her team went on a C-rank mission, she was abducted, sold into slavery, and disappeared for 10 years. The Yondaime eventually rescued her from slavery, but she was nearly dead, and Inoichi had to enter her head to help her recover from the difficult years she had endured. Another memory was of Yugaka Uchiha, who was adored by many women and married Rukia Garachi, a fangirl of his. Rukia was raped by him on a regular basis and was often beaten by him. He covered her with genjutsu to bury her memories of the incidents, and she claimed that the sex was consensual and that her beatings were caused by her being clumsy and falling down the stairs or being struck by pans. Yugaka was arrested after he publicly beat her. Inoichi searched his mind and discovered all the instances in which he had raped and beaten her, so he chose to show his daughter those memories. When he finished, she was hunched over and sobbing uncontrollably, and Inoichi yelled at her, "Did you see that? If you don't get your act together, that's your future. Ino, I've been too forgiving of you. I'll ask the Hokage to disown you and ban you from the ninja program for good if you don't change your ways." When he said that, Ino realized she needed to pull herself together and simply thanked Kami for Naruto's decision to assist her, even though she could see that Hinata's assistance was motivated solely by her love for Naruto and that Hinata wasn't entirely forgiving of her. She felt that no matter what she did, she would never be able to repay Naruto, and when she looked him in the eyes, she saw that he completely forgave her. After everything that she did to him, he forgave her in a second, she said, adding that he would take time out of his day to help her get over her problems. Ino made the decision to put that out of his mind and returned to training. With Naruto, Naruto was meditating at home when he noticed a pain in his chest that had been there since he first met the Kyuubi. He investigated it and discovered that it was demonic chakra, which he initially believed to be the Kyuubi's, but further investigation revealed something else. His own chakra felt the same as the demonic chakra. It was a different color than his own chakra, but it had the same feeling. This was his own chakra. Somewhere in his body, he produces demonic chakra. The revelation was so upsetting that Naruto began to meditate in order to stifle the demonic chakra. He initially believed that it was the source of the transformation, but he later felt that it had nothing to do with the demonic chakra, so he continued to use it without disclosing the demonic chakra to anyone, not even the third Hokage or Hinata. They didn't mind that he was housing a demon, but turning into one. Naruto didn't know how they would react, but he wouldn't have to find out. He loved the Hokage like a grandfather and was in love with Hinata. He kept the demonic chakra his dirty little secret. To get in some last-minute training before Kurenai's test, Naruto got up earlier the following day. Meeting the Kyuubi the previous evening had left him with a lot of steam to release. The Kyuubi always managed to irritate Naruto somehow. The Kyuubi was an expert at making Naruto angry, whether it was by giving him nightmares, making him sick, or bringing up his mother. He had to release the tension before it began to interfere with his fighting. Shino joined him a few minutes into training. Shino was a good listener and kind of a psychiatrist to his friends, but he never really spoke much. They would approach him with their issues, and he would assist them in resolving them. In actuality, Naruto approached Shino regarding the demonic chakra. He claimed to have felt an odd sensation in his body, such as another chakra source, but he made no mention of the fact that his body generated demonic chakra. Naruto realized that his body produced demonic chakra after Shino explained to him that each person experiences chakra differently. Using the same guidance, he also discovered that his transformation had nothing to do with his demonic chakra. Since then, Naruto and Hinata have relied on Shino as a friend. Being on a team with Shino was made easier by his trust in him. He believed that Shino and Hinata would make a better team than Sakura and Sasuke, two people he didn't trust. Shino participated in Naruto's training and picked up his fighting technique. In response to Naruto's initial question, Shino stated, "It seems logical to make myself a jack of all trades. In case my Kikai bugs are deemed useless in some way, taijutsu seems like a good fallback plan." They decided to begin a three-way sparring session after Hinata joined in. They made no use of ninjutsu, weapons, or powerful attacks. They couldn't afford to hurt each other because it was only a friendly spar and they still had an exam to take later. Kurenai walked to the training ground while they were in training. She continued, "That is the type of determination that I'm looking for in my students. You all arrived here early to get in some training. You have no idea how many genin don't train. Trust us, Kurenai." "Sensei, we do," Hinata said. Kurenai giggled at Hinata's comment and, "Anyway, we have something to do here. I have to give you all a test. This test has a 66% fail rate. Of the 9 teams that graduated from the academy yesterday, only 3 of those teams will go on to become genin." "Okay then, what's the test?" asked Hinata. Kurenai stated, "I have 2 bells. Your objective is to take the bells from me before 8:45 AM. It's 8 AM now, so you only have 45 minutes. Whoever doesn't have a bell will go back to the academy. Begin." The 3 genin vanished from view at once. They all gathered in the tree lines. Shino stated, "I find it highly illogical that they would split up a 3-man cell like that. I believe that there's an ulterior motive to this test." "There must be. But what is it?" asked Hinata. Hinata's thoughts were carried on by Naruto. They can't possibly expect a single genin to take on a junin and take something from them, can they? He raised his eyebrows and said, "They don't. I think the objective of this test is to work together. 1 genin can't defeat a junin, but 3 working together might." Naruto replied, "That seems right, so now, let's make a plan." Kurenai was still waiting for her team to try to attack her in the center of the clearing half an hour later. Suddenly, there was a noise behind her. She had heard the sound for years and knew it was shuriken flying through the air. The blades were barely out of her reach as she leapt forward. She had to dodge another volley of kunai before she could gather herself. She didn't anticipate being blasted from behind as she looked in the direction they had come from. Kurenai turned to see Naruto grinning at the source of the ki blast. He focused ki into the tips of his fingers after making guns with his hands. "Bullet shot," he shouted. Then Naruto fired ki at Kurenai, 1 bullet after another. Kurenai was not prepared for a blast to strike her in the side, so she rolled on the ground to avoid the explosions. Kurenai leapt to her feet in a hurry, but then she heard someone yell, "Spirit shot." She barely avoided the black orb as she looked to her left. She turned to see Naruto and Hinata standing where the attack had come from. "So you two decided to work together?" asked Kurenai. Naruto replied, "As if I go on with my dream without my girlfriend by my side." Kurenai replied, "And what about Shino? You're just gonna leave him to repeat the academy?" Hinata replied, "Now what gives you that idea? This was Shino's plan." Kurenai's gaze expanded. "What did you say?" Naruto stated, "Shino volunteered to repeat the academy so that we can further our own ninja careers." Kurenai said, "And you accepted?" With rage. Hinata replied, "Why wouldn't we? We get to stay together. Besides, we work better as a duo, not a trio." Kurenai couldn't believe it. She had always known Hinata to be a good-hearted individual. How could she just put up with a friend who was delaying their dreams and repeating the academy in order to remain with her boyfriend? Kurenai exploded. "How dare you do that to Shino? He's your friend, he has been by your side for months, and you accept him putting his career on hold just so you and this idiot here can play grab ass? I thought you were truly his friend." Hinata narrowed her eyes and smiled slightly after listening to Kurenai's tirade, as if she was doing her best not to laugh. She was unable to contain it after a few seconds. Hinata began to laugh and roll around on the ground. Kurenai's surprise at Hinata's behavior took the place of his rage. She replied, "What are you laughing about? This is serious." you're gonna let Shino repeat the academy so that you can be with your boyfriend? Hinata replied, like I said before, this entire thing was a plan by Shino. Inquiringly, Kurenai asked, what are you talking about? Naruto stated, this was Shino's plan. We all decided to work together to fight. Pass or fail, we'll do it as a team. We fought you so that Shino's Kikai bugs could get all over your body. We had to keep you talking so that you wouldn't notice them draining your chakra. Now that you're low on chakra, your ninjutsu and genjutsu are useless now. Naruto's statement caused Kurenai to smile a little. They thus understood the test's actual purpose. At this point, their only options were to either take the bells or finish within the allotted time. After assuming a genjutsu stance, Kurenai declared, I still have taijutsu. Shino emerged from the tree line to stand next to Hinata and Naruto. He stated, not to be cocky, but it's very cocky illogical to think that you can defeat all three of us in taijutsu alone. According to Kurenai, I think I can handle myself fine. Kurenai's charge at the three genin proved to be a mistake. Naruto forced his two teammates to wait behind him as he charged forward. With his arm outstretched, Naruto charged forward, prepared to strike Kurenai's lights out. But Hinata screamed, Heaven's wrath, just before he got to her. That gave Naruto the signal to soar through the air. He missed the attack by a few centimeters as he flew up. Kurenai was knocked backwards when the attack struck her in the chest. Naruto grinned up at the sky. The old blast and feint consistently gets them. As Shino and Hinata charged Kurenai, Naruto fell to the ground, right behind them. Kurenai avoided Hinata's gentle fist palm to the stomach as she opened up. Kurenai ducked as Shino went down for a sweep. After jumping off Shino's back, Naruto twisted and kicked Kurenai's cheek with his heel with much more force. Hinata hurried to Kurenai but was unable to get a good hit on her. She called out for assistance, and Shino took her call. Kurenai was occupied by those two, but Naruto used his transformation to run past them and swiftly grab the bells as soon as it rang. Kurenai was amazed when Naruto swiftly demonstrated that he had the bells. She responded with, how did you get them that quick? According to Naruto, I have my ways, so now, what will you do with them? Asked Kurenai. Naruto stated, this test was all about teamwork. It was to see if we would be able to put our differences aside for the good of the mission. So, I choose to give the bells to Hinata and Shino. Hinata replied, I won't accept it, you deserve this bell a lot more than I do. Shino replied, I will not accept this bell either. Like Naruto said, pass or fail, we will do so as a team. Since one of us has to fall, we all will. Kurenai replied, wow, you guys are the most grown up 12-year-olds I have ever met. Most would only look out for themselves. Naruto replied, it just goes to show you to never underestimate us because of our age. So sensei, do we pass or fail? Kurenai replied, you pass. Meet me here tomorrow and we can hopefully start missions. Shino responded, what do you mean by, hopefully? We have just passed your test, Kurenai. Sensei, haven't we? Kurenai replied, yes you have. And you all passed with flying colors. But I have to meet with the Hokage and talk to him about the team. And I have to talk to the other Junin and plan things with them, like joint training days or spars, just some small stuff. Don't worry, most likely we'll be doing missions. When their new senseis gave them instructions, the three genin nodded. For the remainder of the day, they remained at the training ground, refining their skills and practicing. Kurenai attended the Junin sensei meeting at the Hokage's office at noon while they were training. The meeting was scheduled to begin when she arrived, but as usual, Kakashi Hitaki was delaying it because he hadn't shown up yet. Kurenai was thus forced to listen to the Junin grapevine for 2 hours. Naruto, her student, was the main topic of discussion. Unfortunately, Kurenai was not surprised in the least. They had only ever discussed Kyuubi Brat, this and Demon Boy. That during her 2 months as a Junin. They seemed unable to stop talking about Naruto. However, it appeared that the conversations had completely blown out of control after Naruto had demonstrated his full potential in his battle with Sasuke a few weeks prior. Many of the Junin were alarmed because they thought Naruto was the Kyuubi reincarnated and would murder them with his new powers and strong transformation. Others thought they were too powerful to lose to what appeared to be a posh henge and phony moves. Kurenai listened to the grapevine without making any judgments. She was aware that the grapevine was never a reliable source of news. So she made the decision to wait to judge him until she had a chance to meet him. And now that she had fought him, she was certain that Hinata's and his special attacks were real. It was 2 when Kakashi entered the room. Well, thanks for coming Kakashi, 2 hours late, the Hokage remarked. Kakashi replied, I'm sorry Hokage. Sama, but I got lost on the road of life. Sarutobi responded, Kakashi, if we weren't low on ninja right now, I would drive a kunai through your head. If you are ever late to a meeting with me again, I will do just that, shinobi forces be damned. With a noticeable paleness, Kakashi replied, yes, Hokage. Sama. The Hokage replied, okay then, now that Kakashi is here, let's get this mission started. In order of team number, state whether they passed or failed. A Junin who appeared out of nowhere declared, Team 1, fail. Team 2, pass. Team 3, pass. Team 4, pass. Team 5, fail. Team 6, fail. With a proud stance, Kakashi declared, Team 7, pass. As he moved forward, Kurenai uttered the words, Team 8, pass. There's no way that team passed, exclaimed Team 1's Junin. According to Team 5's sensei, yeah, they had the failure of a Hyuga heiress and that Aburame. Not to mention that was another statement made by Team 6's sensei. The Sandaime Hokage rudely interrupted Team 6's Junin by putting a kunai through his skull. He concluded by saying, moving on. Asuma, how did Team 10 do? The Sandaime Hokage's son, Asuma Sarutobi, took the stage and declared, Team 10 passed dad. Sarutobi let out a sigh. He stated, it looks like we have 18 new ninja that passed their tests. Kakashi responded, but there's only enough in the budget to support 9. What do we do? Simple, Sarutobi said, team battles to see exactly who will go on. Kurenai replied, if I may interject Hokage. Sama, how will we choose? If you let the genin hopefuls choose, they'll all go after who they think is the weakest. According to Asuma, and if you let the Junin choose, they will go after who they are most biased against, mainly Kurenai's team. Sarutobi replied, I know, and to be honest, I don't think that I can accurately match up the teams either. Why not Hokage? Sama? Asked Kakashi. Kurenai responded to Kakashi's query. Because there's a chance he could arrange them to be biased towards Naruto. Sarutobi responded, correct Kurenai-san. Which is why who they choose shall be at random. Junin sensei of the failed teams, you all can leave. And call in the Anbu cleanup unit to take this body away, it's starting to stink up my office. Yes, Hokage. Sama, the Junin said with a bow before departing. It appeared as though no one had died in the Hokage's office when the Anbu entered the room a few seconds later, removed the body, and cleaned up the mess. Sarutobi replied, now where was I? Oh yeah, you all will be choosing randomly. Now, draw straws. Shortest goes first. One of the 6 straws that Sarutobi took from his desk was shorter than the other 5. Pulling a straw, the 6 Junin who were left stepped forward. Since Asuma chose the shortest one, Sarutobi yelled, fist up, Asuma. Asuma said, what do I do, Dad? As she moved to the front of the Junin. Sarutobi took out 6 pieces of paper and his brush. The names of the other 6 Junin were then inscribed on the slips by him. In order to prevent you from simply memorizing the names' positions, he said, you will all throw kunai at the name slips. I'll attach them to the wall, and you will throw kunai at them. Whatever name it lands on, that's whose team yours must fight tomorrow at noon in the amphitheater. Asuma comes first. Now blindfold yourself using your Hide.8. It seems like my team is fighting yours in the tournament tomorrow, Satoshi, Asuma said, pulling his Hide.8 down over his eyes to block his vision. Sarutobi swiftly affixed the names to his wall and instructed Asuma to toss the kunai, which landed on Satoshi Haruki, the name of Team 2's Junin. Before shaking Asuma's hand, Satoshi said, best team tomorrow wins. All right, then, draw again, said Sarutobi. The female Junin leader of Team 3, Kimiko Tojo, blindfolded herself with her headband and took out a kunai, ready to throw. After the names were switched, Sarutobi gave Kimiko the order to throw, and she hit the name of Team 4's leader, Raimundo Himura. The other 4 Junin drew straws, and Kimiko won. It seems that it was fate that those two would fight again, Sarutobi sighed, observing who was still alive. I just hope that Naruto can stay safe again without killing the Uchiha. It appears that teams 10 and 2, 3 and 4, and 7 and 8 will engage in combat, stated Sarutobi. The 3 winning teams will advance to Genin. The academy will be repeated by the other 3. Are you certain about this, Hokage? Sama? Asked Kakashi. Sasuke Uchiha is on my team, while Naruto Uzumaki is on Kurenai. Sans. They both possess skills that would be beneficial to the security of the villages. I know Kakashi, and if I had my way, they would both be in the Shinobi Corps, Sarutobi remarked. However, I am unable to alter the rules for anybody. One of those 2 won't survive in the ruthless world of Shinobi. I apologize, but that's just the way things will be. I understand, Hokage. Sama, Kakashi remarked. All I can hope for is that this choice doesn't backfire on us. So do I, Kakashi, said Sarutobi. In any case, you are all fired. Kurenai puffed to her training ground, hoping to start from there and find her team, but fortunately they were all still training. The 6 Junin vanished in puffs of smoke, leaving Sarutobi alone in the room. According to Kurenai, Team 8, come here, Kurenai said, there's been a small problem with your graduations, and the Genin immediately dropped what they were doing and hurried over to her, waiting for her to give them instructions. Do you recall that I stated that only 3 of the 9 teams would become shinobi? Kurenai went on after they nodded. Well, 6 teams passed their tests. 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, and 10 teams. This implies that 3 teams need to be eliminated. The Hokage instructed us to report tomorrow at noon to the Konoha Amphitheater. After teams 3 and 4 and teams 10 and 2 have finished fighting, we are left 2. Kurenai was cut off by Naruto, who said, spank the Uchiha's ass. You can rely on me to be present. With a swift slap across the back of his head, Hinata commanded him to, shut up. Kurenai remarked, Naruto is correct, but I wouldn't have put it that way. It's up to us to battle Team 7. Using what we know about those 3, I would attempt to devise a strategy for combat if I were you guys. Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno, and Kiba Inuzuka make up Team 7, Shino stated. Sakura ranks in the top third of our graduating class in terms of academic standing. She is familiar with the material from the school textbooks, but her test scores show that she struggles with studying. However, Sakura rarely trains, Hinata remarked. But I'll sweat, she said when I asked her to train with me one day, and she fled. Yeah, these are team battles, which would primarily require physical abilities, Naruto stated. She lacks that completely, whereas Hinata-chan possesses it in abundance. I can take care of Sakura, no problem, Hinata said. I just need to begin fighting her, then gesture behind her and ask, is that Sasuke taking off his clothes? I can easily nail her in the back when she turns around. It was clear that Kurenai was suppressing her laughter as she said, Hinata, don't disrespect your fellow genin like that. Despite your rude, said Shino. Hinata chimed in, but true. Shino went on, remarks. Hinata can easily handle Sakura, do you all agree? Next up is Kiba, Shino said after they both nodded. Among our graduating class, Kiba is among the fastest. I don't think Kiba has accomplished this with Akamaru, despite the Inuzuka clan's reputation for attacks carried out in tandem with their animal partners. Hinata replied, yeah, but Kiba is completely hormone-driven. He's so overconfident that he jumps before he looks, Naruto remarked. If you turn it into a game of wits, Shino, you can easily defeat him. Shino stated, I don't like entering games like that with unarmed opponents. Like I haven't heard that 100 times, mumbled Naruto. Speaking up, Naruto said, but still, you can easily take him out. Agreed, Shino said. I'll take Kiba, then. Which leaves me with Sasuke, Naruto remarked. We are aware that Sasuke has used his Sharingan, but Naruto is able to avoid it quickly thanks to that transformation, Shino stated. Additionally, Naruto's abilities are greatly enhanced by the transformation, to the point where they totally outstrip Sasuke's. Can you change into that form at any time, Naruto? Yes, Naruto replied. Team 7 is practically extinct. Not necessarily, Shino remarked. Sasuke hasn't experienced that metamorphosis in a long time. Like you, he might have figured out how to turn it on at any time. No way, said Naruto. It took me months of practice to get back in when I first learned about it. Then I had to wait even longer to get in. I essentially spat on everything that Sasuke values. Once more, Hinata interrupted, saying, practically, you pissed all over it. Naruto replied, ignoring that. I had to piss on everything that Sasuke held dear to get him to go into that transformation. Like mine, it must have been activated by a lot of rage. It'll take him a long time to master a form like that. A lot more than just a few weeks. Shino continued, regardless, we should be prepared for any eventuality. If he does enter it, I noticed that it increases his speed, but not as much as your ability. Also, I noticed that after the battle, Sasuke looked to be in pain for a week. Naruto stated, when I first entered the transformation, it put a huge strain on my body. His transformation will probably do the same to him. After entering it for so long though, my body is used to the strain. Hinata replied, so maybe you can just outlast him. Eventually, the pain from the transformation will knock him out. You have more stamina and control than him. Shino replied, precisely my idea. With him being inexperienced with his powers, you have a clear advantage. As long as you stay out of his reach and don't get hit, you will win. Oh yeah, said Naruto, Team 7 is toast. The following day. Following a brief morning workout, Team 8 proceeded to the amphitheater for competition. They heard whispers about the fights on the way there. Although the fights were meant to take place in private, it appeared that many Junin were unable to keep their mouths shut. It became increasingly clear that everyone in town was aware of their battles as they continued to walk. It also appeared that the amphitheater would be crowded today. They overheard people placing wagers on the games, with Team 7 being the clear favorite. Not a single vote for Team 8 was heard. Oh, so the fact that Hinata, Chan and I are rookie shinobi and kunoichi of the year hasn't made it to the streets yet, but our fight with Team 7 is known within the hour, Naruto thought as he heard the crowds. For you, Konohagakure no Sato only listens to what it desires. They came upon a perfectly square boulder en route. Although the three saw it, they ignored the brick. The brick suddenly began to move with them. Even though Shino saw it, he remained silent. Naruto chose to ignore it even though he saw it and knew who it was. But eventually, the incessant shuffling and shoddy stealth tactics began to irritate him. You can come out now, Konohamaru. There are no holes in boulders, and none of them are perfectly square, he said, turning to face the boulder. Damn it, Konohamaru muttered inside the boulder and emerged from beneath it. He stated, hey boss, can you help me with my training? I'm trying to make my energy beams wider, but I keep making them the same way. I can't Konohamaru, I'm busy, Naruto declared. Doing what? Asked Konohamaru. Naruto replied, haven't you heard? Me and my team have to fight Sakura, Kiba, and Sasuke today to become Genin. Can you teach me later then? Asked Konohamaru. Naruto replied, if me and my team aren't doing anything, yeah. Cool, said Konohamaru, I'll try to train some before you teach me. Konohamaru then dashed to a training area. According to Naruto, that kid is a handful. Hinata replied, he sort of reminds me of a black-haired, black-eyed person I know. Hinata. Chan, I think you left out, drop dead sexy, in your description, said Naruto with a sly smile. With a contemplative stance, Hinata uttered, now that you mention it, Sasuke is drop dead sexy. What? Naruto exclaimed as his eyes grew wide. Hinata began to laugh at his expression. Hinata replied, I'm just messing around. I was talking about you. Oh, Naruto said, and let out a sigh. When Shino saw this, he remarked, Hinata, you forgot to say stupid as hell. Naruto laughed and said, funny Shino. Now can we cut out Shino's weak attempts at making a joke and get to our fight? I got a lot of things to do today which don't involve losing my job before I even get it. When the three of them hurried to the amphitheater, they discovered that it was already full. As Naruto scanned the stands, he noticed the Sandame seated in the cage's booth. The Sandame gestured for Naruto to approach after Naruto waved at him. After sprinting to the stairs, Naruto reached the cage's booth. As soon as possible, the Hokage left his guards to speak with Naruto in private. Naruto, what do you intend to do about Sasuke? Asked the Sandame. What do you mean? Naruto asked, I got this in the bag. The Sandame responded, are you so sure about that? You've become a lot more powerful these past few weeks, how do you know he hasn't also? According to Naruto, he hasn't gained enough power to match me. You know that cockiness will get you killed, Naruto, sighed Sarutobi. Naruto replied, well, to quote Hiruzen Sarutobi, it's only cockiness when you can't back it up. When I transform, it increases my speed and reflexes by a lot. By the time he does the hand seals for any jutsu, I would have seen it and avoided it. That transformation of his makes him too slow to beat me. I hope you're right for your sake, Naruto, said Sarutobi. Is that all you wanted to say? Asked Naruto. Sarutobi stated, there's something else. Watch out today. There's a lot of money on Sasuke to win. Some of the more desperate people would do anything for that money, even sabotage you and your team. As Naruto put it, I'll watch out you old geezer. Sarutobi replied, I hope you win, Naruto. I have a lot of money riding on you. Naruto laughed and replied, gambling, Sarutobi. What would the village say, seeing their fearless leader gambling on a child's fight? Sarutobi replied, they won't say anything if they know what's good for them. Now get down there and kick some ass. With a mock salute, Naruto said, will do, geezer, Sama. Naruto relayed Sarutobi's warning and ran to the field to rejoin his team. They began after a few more minutes. The exam's proctor, a man in typical Junin clothing, came down with a toothpick in his mouth and a bandana. Then the proctor began to speak, his voice projected over the entire amphitheater. My name is Genma Shiranui, and I am the proctor of the tournament. Before you now, you see 18 genin. Each genin has passed the test their genin instructor has given them, but only 3 genin teams can move on to become true genin of Konohagakure no Sato. Today, these teams will face each other in previously selected, randomly chosen matches. After that, Genma focused on the genin. He continued, I will now call up the first 2 teams. If your team isn't called, you must go to the waiting area to wait for your battle. Genma's voice began to project once more. Now, Team 2 consisting of Rukia Kuchiki, Ichigo Kurosaki, and Sato Yosutora. Your battle today is with Team 10, consisting of Shikamaru Nara, Ino Yamanaka, and Shoji Akamichi. The other teams must report to the waiting area for their match. The other teams hurried over to the waiting room. Team 2, are you ready? Asked Genma. Her team's spokesperson, Rukia, responded, yes, sir. Team 10, ready? Genma asked, turning to face Team 10. Lazily, Shikamaru replied, yeah. In order to escape the fighting, Genma then screamed, Hajime, and leapt on the wall, heading for the Hokage's booth. A smaller altercation was taking place in the waiting room as teams 2 and 10 fought for their jobs. After approaching Team 8, Sasuke remarked, you better enjoy this loser. This is the closest you'll get to becoming a genin. What makes you think that? Asked Naruto. Simple, said Sasuke with a sly smile, your team's match is with me and my team. And I don't plan on losing today. Naruto replied, what a coincidence, neither do I, so one of us has to change our plans. I hope you factor being carried out of here on a stretcher into them. Only if you factor in being carried out in a body bag, Sasuke said, casting Naruto a menacing glance. Is that supposed to be a threat? Asked Naruto, squinting at Sasuke. Sasuke replied, more of a promise. I told you before that you would pay for mocking the Uchiha name. Now we've come full circle. Naruto replied, and I told you that if you use deadly force on me, I'd kill you. Sasuke laughed and replied, so this means that one of us isn't leaving this arena. Maybe if I feel like it, I'll put some flowers on your grave. Naruto replied, and I'll piss all over yours. You haven't beaten me before, you certainly won't do it now. Everything has its first time, stated Sasuke. Then, in a whisper that only Naruto could hear, Sasuke said, even a demon has to die sometime. Then, with a broad grin, Sasuke turned around and walked away. Naruto was too taken aback to respond. What's the matter, Naruto-kun? What did he say? Asked Hinata as she stepped forward. Hinata turned to Naruto, who said, he knows about the Kyuubi. But how? Hinata exclaimed, no one is supposed to tell. Naruto stated, the Hokage isn't omniscient, he can't control everyone from telling the secret. Hinata stated, we gotta make sure that he doesn't tell anyone. Naruto replied, I'm gonna have to tell the Hokage, he has to know about this. Hinata grabbed Naruto's arm as he turned to head for the stairs. You're not going anywhere without me, she said. When Shino showed up beside Naruto, he said, I'm here with you too. Shino, do you know? Asked Naruto. Shino replied, I've known for a few years now. But I don't see how it affects anything. That beast is separate from you, you're nothing like it. Naruto replied, thank you Shino. Now, let's go to the Hokage. The other teams were left alone when Naruto, Hinata, and Shino left the room. After taking a headset out of his pocket, Sasuke switched it on. He stated, Master, the birds are migrating to the Grand Bird. Good job Sasuke. We'll ambush them on their way, said the master on the other end of the line. Sasuke grinned. Everything went as planned. Team 8 was making their way to the Hokage's throne through the amphitheater's corridors. While traveling, they could hear everyone applauding the ongoing game. Ignoring it, the group proceeded toward the Hokage's seat. They encountered 3 Anbu who were obstructing their path on their way there. One member of Team 8 brandished their sword just as they were about to pass the Anbu. He stated, I cannot allow you to go further. Says Naruto, and why not? Your death has been ordered, said the Anbu. Naruto was agitated by the ANBU's comment. The Anbu tried to cut him as it ran at him. Naruto missed the blade as he leapt backward. With a swift ki blast, Hinata sent the Anbu reeling backwards. Shino unleashed his bugs and rushed forward to confront an Anbu. Expecting to skewer Shino, the Anbu swung his sword down, but he was unprepared for Shino to switch places with the bug clone behind him. The sword and its wielder in Shino's bugs were coated after the ANBU's blade passed through the bug clone. The Anbu was swiftly placed in a sleeper hold after Shino leapt on his back. One of the 3 attempted to free the Anbu from Shino's sleeper hold. That was swiftly stopped by Naruto, who ran in front of the Anbu and engaged him in combat. After putting its sword away, The Anbu fought Naruto hand. Hand. Naruto drop-kicked the Anbu in his left shin after dodging a punch that was aimed at his head. With a terrible scream, the Anbu clutched his shin in agony. The Anbu leapt over Naruto's crouching body as he attempted to sweep its right foot out from under him. He experienced pain all over his leg as the Anbu landed on its injured shin. The Anbu leapt back before Naruto could land a punch, despite Naruto leaping forward to do so. The Anbu blocked Naruto's kick that was aimed at its chest. The Anbu blocked upward after Naruto's feint kick to his head, leaving his chest exposed. Naruto shouted, "Bullet shot," as he rapidly concentrated energy into his fingers. A series of bullet shots that all connected were fired by Naruto. Then, anticipating that a single punch would end the battle, Naruto leapt forward. The Anbu did something Naruto never would have predicted when he ducked under his punch. He took his sword out of its sheath and slashed it into Naruto's left shin. Normally, Naruto's skin wouldn't be harmed by the sword. The strength of Naruto's skin allowed him to shatter kunai without breaking. However, the Anbu's sword was unique. His master created it with the intention of severing Naruto's skin. It was extremely resilient and could slice through most stone as easily as a hot knife slices through butter. The Anbu was also skilled in wind chakra. He was instructed to encircle the blade with wind chakra and use it to stab Naruto in the leg. In agony, Naruto screamed and clutched his leg. "Payback's a bitch, ain't it?" the Anbu said. Hinata rushed to Naruto's side after hearing his yell and swiftly struck the Anbu she was battling in his heart. The Anbu shouted, "Fire style, Grand Fireball Jutsu," and began performing hand seals. Hinata furiously squinted at the Anbu. 8 trigrams. Air palm, she exclaimed. She sent an unseen force through the air as she thrust her hand in the direction of the Anbu. The air palm blew straight through the Grand Fireball of the Anbu after connecting with it. The attack proceeded and knocked the man unconscious after striking him squarely in the face and causing minor damage to his brain and skull. "Quick, Hinata. You have to get your Mystic Palm Jutsu ready. When I pull out this sword, you have to heal it quick or he can bleed out," Shino said as he swiftly reunited with Hinata. Hinata replied, "But Shino, I don't think I'm good enough to heal something like this. Maybe the doctors here can." Shino responded, "Hinata, most of the village hates Naruto because of what he holds in his stomach. He's told me that doctors have tried to poison him before, so I know he told you too. Do you seriously think that the doctors will heal Naruto if they aren't forced to by the Hokage? We have to do our best to stop the bleeding right now and get the Hokage to help us with healing the rest later." "Okay. Mystic Palm Jutsu," said Hinata. A green aura enveloped Hinata's hands. Her hand began to move in the direction of Naruto's wound. From among the fallen Anbu, Shino swiftly snatched a sword and placed the hilt in Naruto's mouth. "Bite down on it," he said. "On 3 you heal, okay? 1, 2, 3, Shino said to Hinata as Naruto finished. Shino snatched up the sword and drew it out. As Hinata began to heal the sword, the hilt muffled Naruto's screams. Fortunately, Hinata was able to stop the bleeding by doing everything she could, which wasn't much. Hinata replied, "I'm done. Naruto-kun, you have to stay off that foot." "But how will I fight?" asked Naruto. Hinata replied, "I think their plan was for you to not be able to." "What?" asked Naruto. Shino stated, "Hinata is right. You're faster than Sasuke, so if they take out your leg, you're gonna be practically immobile, which makes Sasuke's job of defeating you easier for him. So Sasuke's behind this. I'll kick his ass," yelled Naruto angrily. Shino replied, "No you won't, Naruto. Sasuke didn't sabotage you in person, so he can't be charged with it. If you go back there and start a fight with Sasuke now, we'll be disqualified for sabotaging a team." "So what can we do?" asked Naruto. Shino concluded, "We'll just have to fight them and hope for the best." Naruto replied, "Fine then. Let's get to the Hokage and tell him the news." They reached the cage's booth 10 minutes later. Sarutobi hurriedly cleared the space so they could speak in private. "What happened to Naruto?" asked Sarutobi. Naruto stated, "We were attacked by 3 people claiming to be Anbu." Says Sarutobi, "Where?" Shino replied, "A hallway 3 flights down and on the side of the amphitheater where the waiting rooms are." With a quick snap of his fingers, 3 Anbu materialized. "Go check it out," he said. The Anbu vanished. "What happened during the attack?" asked Sarutobi. According to Shino, they went immediately for Naruto, giving me reason to believe he was their target. I believe that those people were working on the side of Sasuke. They knew that Naruto was faster than Sasuke, so they tried to injure one of his legs to make Sasuke's fight easier for him. According to Sarutobi, that does make sense. Shino responded, there's something else, Hokage. Sama. In the waiting rooms, Sasuke said something to Naruto that caused us to believe that he knows about the Kyuubi no Kitsune imprisoned in Naruto's stomach. How did you learn of it? Asked Sarutobi. Shino stated, it was easy to figure out with everyone calling Naruto a fox demon. Anyway, Sasuke said, even a demon has to die sometime. Sarutobi replied, you're right. This is serious, but I can't have him killed for knowing it. If he tells anyone I can, but since was told, he can't be persecuted. I'll get a few Anbu to watch over him. Sarutobi's Anbu poofed back in at that precise moment. They replied, Hokage. Sama, there's nothing there. All we found were a few traces of blood, but no bodies. According to Sarutobi, that is all. Then the Anbu left. Sarutobi stated, it seems that it was a Black Ops mission. They were extracted before they were found out. According to Shino, so we have no leads as to who they were hired by or working for. Sarutobi replied, it seems we don't. I'll keep looking into it. I'll find who did this, I promise you. But for now, I think you all should get back to the waiting room. Your turn is coming up soon. However, Hinata stated, but Naruto is injured, we could lose. Sarutobi replied, I'm sorry Hinata, but if you don't go out there, you will lose. Angrily, Hinata squinted and punched the wall beside her. In her own words, I understand, Hokage. Sama. After that, Shino, Hinata, and Naruto departed from the cage's booth and entered the waiting area. They went to one of the seats when they got there and put Naruto to sleep. In the hopes that she could do more to reduce the pain and put Naruto into a fighting state, Hinata continued to tend to his leg. Shino responded, this will cause a slight change in our plan. Naruto can't take on Sasuke alone. I shall take Sakura and Kiba. Hinata, you back up Naruto. Are you sure you can do it, Shino? Asked Hinata. Shino said solemnly, I'll have to. Sasuke's eyes narrowed in rage as they went through all of this. Oh no, Naruto's bitch and bug boy were to be killed by those root agents. We must now battle them all. However, the girl will be weakened because she is attempting to heal Naruto's wound. The Dobi also appears to have serious injuries. Fuck. When he was at his strongest, I wanted to fight him. In this manner, it would be impossible to distinguish between the two. Turning back, Sasuke watched Team 3, which included Yusuke Urameshi, Kazuma Kuwabara, and Shizuru Kuwabara, battle Team 4, which included Edward and Alphonse Elric and Riza Hawkeye. After 10 more minutes, Yasuke's spirit gun attack on Alphonse Elric forced his older brother Edward to jump in front of the blast, and Team 3 was proclaimed the winners. The others were easy pickings now that Edward was out of the way. Now, will the last fighters come down? The Proctor Genma said after their match. Team 7, which consists of Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno, and Kiba Inuzuka, will be facing Team 8, which consists of Naruto Uzumaki, Hinata Hyuga, and Shino Aburame. To thunderous applause, Team 7 emerged from the waiting area and entered the arena. Being the crowd favorite was a huge thrill for their whole team. Team 8 emerged with Naruto on the shoulders of Hinata and Shino. The entire crowd started jeering at them right away. Everyone is jeering at me, giving me death glares, and acting as though they are about to kill me, Naruto thought. SOP. Team 7 was waiting in the middle of the stage, and Team 8 carried Naruto there. Team 7, ready? Genma asked. Hell yeah. This'll be a cinch, exclaimed Kiba. Team 8, ready? Genma asked, turning to face them. Does it matter? Hinata said, squinting. Genma shouted, Hajime, while ignoring her query. The two teams were able to attack each other because Genma leapt back. Shino made a bug clone in no time. The bug clone charged at Sakura, yanking its fist back to strike her. I know that this is nothing but an illusion, Shino. You can't defeat me that easily, she said as she stood there. Sakura punched the clone in the head after waiting until it was within striking distance. Shino's Kikai bugs were created by the bug clone. Sakura was covered in them, letting out an rattling scream and screaming that there were bugs on her before she passed out from terror 10 seconds later. Shino started to perspire when he saw this. I would say that it was too easy if it were anyone other than Sakura, he thought. But Kiba did have cover because Sakura was unconscious. Kiba lunged at Shino and struck him in the face. Shino managed to recover and land after taking off. Shino turned to see Kiba charging once more. Shino waited until the very last second, assessing every aspect of Kiba's attack, and then ducked. The two female Kikai bugs that fell on him and Akamaru went unnoticed by Kiba. That will eventually get them, Shino thought. The male Kikai bugs will be drawn to the females on Kiba and Akamaru once they have sucked Sakura dry. I just need to draw Kiba over there and wait. Then Shino began avoiding Kiba's blows. After dodging one of Kiba's claws, Shino punched Kiba in the head and chest, slightly knocking him back. Kiba ran toward Shino, aiming for his chest as Shino saw it. Kiba fell on his face as Shino swiftly dodged and spun, sweeping his feet out from under him. Is that the best you have, Kiba? Shino asked after getting back to his feet. Kiba replied, this is just the tip of the iceberg. As before, Kiba charged forward, but this time, his goal was to pull Shino's legs out from under him. Shino waited for Kiba to approach him while bending his knees slightly. After jumping over Kiba's blow, he placed his foot on Kiba's head and gave it a slight push, which sent Kiba landing on the ground once more. After the attack, Kiba stood up to more taunts from Shino. The brilliant jutsu creator Albert Einstein was quoted saying, "Stupidity is defined as doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. I guess by his definition, you are an idiot." Kiba replied, "You think you're so smart? I'll clean your clock right here." Shino replied, "If you think you can, I'd suggest you do it right now." Kiba charged forward, attempting to strike Shino, but Shino managed to sidestep all of Kiba's blows. Shino stated, "Kiba, your moves are an open book to those who know how to look. You easily broadcast your moves to your opponent. You need to work on your taijutsu more." Kiba replied, "I'm the best of our class at taijutsu. No one topped me." "Now you're deluding yourself," Shino said. Kiba replied, "Say something about me again? I dare you." According to Shino, your mother has a job and is a respected member of the community. "No one talks about my mother that way," Kiba said, squinting at Shino. Kiba shouted, "All fours jutsu," while bending his knees and focusing his chakra. After that, Kiba's body was covered in chakra, his canine teeth grew longer, and his appearance became more savage. He flew faster than ever in the direction of Shino. Kiba charged headfirst into a wall as Shino leapt out of the way. From what I saw of their previous battle, Sasuke now has about as much chakra as Naruto, Shino reflected. He would be fine even if my Kikai bugs drained him for an hour. It would be better if he looked after his teammates. Akamaru, who was standing next to Kiba and attempting to wake him up, was drained by Shino's release of the remainder of his swarm. When the people draining Sakura were finished, Shino told them to begin draining Kiba. This is what Naruto said, "Hinata-chan, let me go." But Naruto-kun, your leg isn't completely healed yet. According to Naruto, it'll have to do. Hinata was right behind Naruto as he hurried Sasuke. So he brings his little bitch along to help, Sasuke thought as he witnessed Hinata charging with Naruto. He's beginning to resemble Kiba more and more every day. Sasuke hurried Naruto after activating his Sharingan. Sasuke made the decision to concentrate most of his attacks on Naruto's injured shin. Naruto, Hinata by his side, refused to budge from Sasuke. Each time Sasuke attempted to strike Naruto's leg, Hinata used a light fist. Sasuke saw and avoided many of Hinata's attacks. "Bitch, you can't get one past me with these eyes." Naruto was saying, "Hinata, back up and ready the feint and blast." Jumping back, Hinata placed her right arm parallel to the floor. She grabbed her right wrist with her left hand and began directing her energy toward her right hand. Those who looked directly into her hand were momentarily blinded by the white light it began to emit. In an attempt to relieve as much strain as possible on his left leg, Naruto rushed forward. However, Naruto still had to endure a great deal of suffering. Sasuke could see it with his Sharingan and dodge if I don't hold him during the blast. He must be restrained from moving by me. Naruto held Sasuke's arms in a full Nelson after flipping him over. It was Naruto who shouted, "Hinata, now!" Heaven's wrath! Hinata screamed as she launched her attack, her eyes narrowing. Sasuke and Naruto were the targets of Hinata's attack, which shot out of her hand. Sasuke began thrashing about in Naruto's hold, doing everything he could to break free. Sasuke was swiftly kicked forward and into the blast's path by Naruto. Sasuke rapidly directed chakra throughout his body, greatly increasing the durability of his skin. When the attack exploded, a massive smokescreen was raised. In an attempt to give himself some space in case Sasuke wasn't finished, Naruto began to back away a few paces. He was unaware that Naruto had been struck by a grand fireball jutsu. Before he could sustain any irreversible harm, Naruto leapt from the flames, but in his haste, he failed to notice his injury. When he landed on his left leg by accident, a great deal of pain shot up his leg, causing him to collapse to the ground. With a shriek, Naruto exclaimed, "Damn it! How could I be so foolish?" Sasuke rushed out of the smokescreen and began hurling kunai at Naruto as he was holding his leg. With a swift motion, Naruto rolled aside and stood up. Sasuke remained near him, preventing Naruto from devising a strategy. From a distance, Hinata witnessed their altercation and began to gather energy in her hand. After a while, she noticed a gap. It was Spirit Arrow, she cried. She released a glowing arrow from her hand. Sasuke fell to his knees as it struck him in the back after sailing through the air. Sasuke was able to roll out of the way with ease as Naruto lunged forward and attempted to kick him. Sasuke stood up, but he felt a hand grab him from behind. Naruto replied, "Gotta love shadow clones, right? Now it's time for you to lose." With his palm facing Sasuke, his fingers spread, and his arm parallel to the ground, Naruto grasped his right hand. His right hand began to glow black as he began to pump energy into it. In Naruto's hand, a black ball of energy began to grow. The size of the ball increased with every second. "This attack should seem familiar to you, Sasuke." "Spirit shot," said Naruto with a sly smile. Sasuke was the target of Naruto's attack. Sasuke rapidly directed chakra throughout his body, repeatedly increasing the durability of his skins. Naruto's shadow clone was easily destroyed by the attack, but it also raised another smokescreen. With the belief that two would be better than one, Naruto leapt to the right and approached Hinata. Sasuke was still standing when the smoke cleared, but a portion of his shirt had been blown off. Sasuke appeared to be unharmed. "Is that the best you got?" he asked. Hinata's eyes went wide with surprise. She replied, B. But how? That was a direct hit. You shouldn't be standing right now." "I can't allow another one of those attacks to land," Sasuke remarked. "Maybe those worthless techniques of yours aren't as strong as you think. In order to defend against those attacks, I had to double up on my skin's durability, which has already reduced my chakra by half." Naruto replied, "Worthless? I didn't see you saying that when you were knocked out from them." Sasuke replied, "As I've said before, I've grown stronger than I was at that time. For example, this." Sasuke gazed down while closing his eyes. Naruto remarked, "Is that it?" looking to the ground. According to Hinata, no, he's concentrating. Opening his eyes, Sasuke turned to face Naruto. Complete rage, anger, and a desire to kill were visible in Sasuke's eyes. Murmuring, Naruto said, "Oh shit." Once more, Sasuke's body began to change. His hair began to float. Sasuke placed his arms at his waist and bowed his knees. He replied, "You think that before was anything? Here's my true power." Sasuke's body suddenly erupted in a massive yellow aura that blew pebbles, grass, dirt, and other small objects into the air. Fortunately, the spectators were so high up that none of the floating debris could get in their eyes. Naruto thought. Sasuke learned how to enter the transformation at will. As he looked forward to seeing him. No, he didn't. It wouldn't have taken that long if he had. He must have reenacted the anger from that previous instance. He is currently undergoing this new metamorphosis. The only advantage I have over him is speed, which is now kaput due to my leg. This is not good. At least Sasuke's muscle mass doubled. His muscles grew so large that they stretched his pants and tore through his shirt. Sasuke's hair settled into a new style, departing from its previous state. Additionally, it turned a shade of blue that was somewhat deeper than sky blue. Sasuke also got taller. As all of this was happening, the stadium was filled with Sasuke's insane laughter. I haven't used this form since my previous battle with Uzumaki. I have at least quadrupled my chakra capacity. I've surpassed my initial maximum. I now own Uzumaki and his bitch. The majority of the wind's force vanished along with Sasuke's laughter. Standing there was Sasuke in the same shape he had taken during his earlier battle with Naruto. Naruto experienced an odd sensation once more as he observed Sasuke's metamorphosis. When he first witnessed Sasuke's metamorphosis, he received the same one. He had an instinct that told him to either fight Sasuke or flee. Naruto replied, "I was wondering when you would bust that out." Naruto changed into his form with a thought, a fist clenching, and a slight scowl. Naruto hurried ahead, much more quickly than before. Sasuke's fist struck him across the face after he attempted a punch. Naruto recovered quickly and returned to battle Sasuke. He began to strike Sasuke with punches. While some of them made contact, most of them missed. When Naruto went in for a punch, Sasuke grabbed his hand and lifted him off the ground. After that, he struck Naruto in the chest, sending him hurtling through the air. 10 feet from Sasuke, Naruto fell on his back. Sasuke responded, "Is that really your best? You'll lose then, Uzumaki." Carefully avoiding placing weight on his left leg, Naruto got to his feet. He replied, "Nope. I'm just testing you, and you failed. Swiftly sprinting forward, Naruto dodged Sasuke's blow. He attempted to strike Sasuke in the chest, but Sasuke vanished. Naruto searched all over for Sasuke, but he was nowhere to be seen. When he turned around, Sasuke was about to strike him. Just as Naruto was ready to leap back, he heard someone shout, 8 trigrams. Air palm. Abruptly, Sasuke was hurled to his right and struck the stadium wall. Hinata approached Naruto's side. She replied, "You didn't think I would let you fight Sasuke all alone, did you?" As Naruto put it, "I kinda hoped you would. According to Hinata, you won't get that lucky." They heard the rocks shifting just as Naruto was about to respond. Sasuke was getting up, looking back. He appeared completely unweary as he brushed debris from the wall off of his body. Sasuke replied, "So I get the pleasure of ending the Dobi and his bitch, huh? I feel so honored." Naruto and Hinata were on high alert when Sasuke vanished once more. "Baikugan," was muttered, and Hinata used her Dujutsu. "Jump," she shouted as she stood there. Just as Sasuke emerged behind them and punched the ground they were standing on, Naruto and Hinata leapt into the air. Everyone watching the match was shocked when he punched, creating a huge crater. "That is a lot of raw power. And he's fast," Hinata remarked. Naruto stated, "But without discipline, raw power is harmless." Hinata replied, "He put a beating on you the last time you two fought." Everyone was gasping at them, and Naruto heard it. He noticed that Hinata and he were being pointed at by everyone to his left. He responded with, "What? What the hell do you want?" Behind him, he heard Sarutobi's voice. Sarutobi replied, "Naruto, I don't think they're used to seeing two genin hovering in mid-air." "Huh?" Naruto's expression changed to one of confusion before he looked down and realized he was in the air. He stated, "I forgot we figured out how to do this." With a loud groan, Hinata exclaimed, "Damn it. I feel like a dumbass now." I asked Naruto, "What's up?" Hinata replied, "Why didn't we think of flying as fixing your leg problems earlier?" After striking a contemplative pose, Naruto uttered the words, "True. It would take all the pressure off of my leg." Hinata replied, "But if I remembered earlier, we probably could have beaten Sasuke already." Naruto replied, "It doesn't matter. Right now, you remembered and that's what counts. As long as we're up here, Sasuke can't." Naruto was tackled out of the sky and smashed into the ground, interrupting his speech. Hinata's gaze expanded. She murmured to herself. He ran up the wall, then kicked off of it at the exact angle to tackle Naruto. That takes some serious leg power. With a force that could tear through steel, Sasuke slammed Naruto into the ground. The crowd's cheers were drowned out by the impact. With a savage scream, Sasuke began striking Naruto across the face. Like Naruto, Hinata swiftly descended and began directing energy into her hands. "Spirit shot," she yelled as she launched the assault. Sailing forward, the black ball of energy exploded against Sasuke's back. Despite being blasted forward, Sasuke recovered with ease. Naruto was back up and levitating a few inches in the air by the time he recovered. Sasuke was charged by both Naruto and Hinata. Sasuke prepared to attack either of them by slipping into a defensive stance. They both hurled smoke bombs at Sasuke, causing his vision to deteriorate. Sasuke saw Hinata and Naruto charge at him through the smoke. As Sasuke began to attack them both, he heard a shout of, "Spirit shot 10x," before his fists passed through them. The attacks shot Sasuke from both sides, increasing the smokescreen surrounding him. In anticipation of what would happen, Naruto and Hinata both took off into the air above the smokescreen. Sasuke was standing there without a scratch once more when the smoke cleared, but his aura was less powerful. Furious, Naruto squinted his eyes. With a shout of, "Why won't you die?" he flew in Sasuke's direction. Naruto rushed towards Sasuke and slammed his fist out. Sasuke didn't even tilt his head when he slammed his fist across his face. When Naruto felt the pain from his fist, his eyes widened. "That has never occurred before. Punching anything has never caused me any pain. What's going on?" With a sly smile, Sasuke gave Naruto a powerful kick to the chest, causing him to fall to his knees. After grabbing Naruto's head with one hand, Sasuke slammed his knee into his head, sending him flying to the wall on the other side. With a sly smile, Sasuke vanished and then resurfaced in Naruto's path. Naruto was kicked higher into the air by him. Following him, Sasuke leapt into the air. After realizing that she had to assist, Hinata began to charge her energy and fired off a spirit shot. "This bitch has interfered for the last time," Sasuke thought as he saw this. Sasuke increased the strength of his arm by concentrating chakra through it. Hinata was shocked once more when Sasuke swatted her spirit shot away, in an attempt to deliver a double-handed axe. Smash to Naruto. Sasuke raised his hands above his head. When Sasuke pressed his hands down on Naruto's head, his blow went through the air instead. Sasuke turned to see Naruto kick him in the face and fall to the ground after spotting a shadow above his head. Focusing energy through his hands, Naruto put them next to his right hip. The whole amphitheater was filled with green light from the energy. Naruto replied, once again, Sasuke. Welcome to Super Naruto's Konoha Cannon. With great force, Naruto turned and pushed the attack forward. Sasuke was struck by the green beam that sailed forward. Almost instantly after Naruto stopped the attack, Sasuke blew away the smoke and dust the attack had created. I have had enough of you. No more holding back, screamed Sasuke. The aura of Sasuke shot into the air as he yelled. His iris and pupil began to shrink until they were only half as large as they had been. The sensation intensified in Naruto's body, and he felt the impulse to charge Sasuke in a crazed, instinctive rage. His demonic energy began to rise as that feeling intensified. Since the beginning of their match, it had been rising, and now it was coming to a head. In an attempt to relax, Naruto quickly inhaled deeply. Take it easy, Uzumaki. You would only get hurt if you lost your temper now. Naruto calmed down and followed Sasuke, Hinata trailing behind. For the majority of the audience, Naruto's barrage of punches against Sasuke seemed to happen in a blur. Sasuke grabbed Naruto's hand and threw him against the wall when Naruto attempted to punch him in the face. When Hinata noticed a weakness in Sasuke's defenses, she hurried forward and used a gentle fist to slam him in the chest. Sasuke narrowed his eyes and gave Hinata a direct look. She fell to her knees after he swiftly punched her in the stomach. He shouted, "Temporary paralysis jutsu," and began performing hand seals. Hinata was completely frozen for 10 seconds by Sasuke's attack. Quickly, Sasuke began shouting out, "Chamber of Pain jutsu," and performing a lot of hand seals. Hinata succumbed to Sasuke's delusion with ease. Hinata screamed and fell to the ground, clearly in agony. As soon as he heard her scream, Naruto hurried to Hinata after erupting from the wall. Sasuke was knocked away from Hinata by his swift twisting and face kicking. "Hinata-chan, is there something wrong?" asked Naruto. Hinata continued to whimper, her pain preventing her from forming coherent sentences. "What did you do to her?" Naruto shouted as he turned to face Sasuke. Sasuke laughed as he said, "I put her in a genjutsu. It works on her nerves. Anything she feels will be multiplied thousands of times over. Everything from the feeling of the ground on her body to the breeze that's blowing right now. She's feeling everything thousands of times more than regular. Even better, the more chakra she uses to try and distort the genjutsu, the stronger it becomes. The only way out of it is if I let her out. Now that bitch will be out of our match." Naruto felt his anger and fury take over his body as he narrowed his eyes at Sasuke. Naruto's demonic power surged through his body. "Fuck it," was Naruto's thought this time. "I'll use the shit my body produces now." Naruto said, "You hurt my Hina-chan. Now you'll pay," while staring Sasuke in the eyes. Naruto grasped the demonic energy he felt within his body. He pulled it out and the power flooded his body. A lot of dust kicked up around Naruto's body due to the sudden flood of demonic energy. Some of the spectators were experiencing the effects of the power because it was so powerful. The ninja who engaged in combat during the Kyuubi attack were tense due to the chakra. They could hardly suppress the memories and nightmares evoked by the demonic essence of the chakra. Wanting to see what would happen next, Sarutobi got up and walked to the edge of the cage booth. Shino knew right away that this match was going to get ugly. He snatched Kiba and Sakura and fled. Fearing for their lives, he ordered his bugs back into his body. He picked them up and returned to the waiting area. Naruto's aura brightened to orange. His eyes went from mostly purple to slightly green. Naruto's body developed a red layer of chakra. He had a tail and claws on his feet and nails from the chakra coating. Upon witnessing these changes, the audience was on the verge of yelling, but with a quick flick of Sarutobi's fingers, the Anbu materialized in front of everyone, their swords drawn, seemingly daring anyone to speak. Fortunately, the public caught on. In sheer rage, Naruto squinted at Sasuke with his now slitted eyes. "Round 3 begins now," he declared. Naruto vanished at once. Sasuke searched the area but was unable to locate Naruto. Suddenly he felt a punch to his body. Naruto was standing there when Sasuke stood up from the blow. Sasuke replied, "How did you get that fast? You weren't anywhere near this fast before." Naruto grinned. He replied, "Simple. Look at my left leg. where your friend stabbed me. Naruto's leg caught Sasuke's attention. When he initially saw nothing, Naruto remarked, "You don't see? How about I give you a close-up?" Naruto startled Sasuke by leaping forward on his feet. Sasuke was knocked away when Naruto leapt to his feet and kicked him in the face. As Sasuke stood up, he glanced at Naruto's leg once more and noticed that some of the red aura was radiating into it. "It's healing." "But how?" said Sasuke. Naruto replied, "Simple. I usually have an accelerated healing factor, but this form enhances it farther than it's ever been. Even if putting weight on my leg is damaging it, this chakra is healing it faster than I can damage it. See, my leg is almost 100% right now." Sasuke replied, "It doesn't matter, Dobi. I can still beat you." Smirking, Naruto uttered, "Oh really?" Once more, Naruto vanished. Sasuke received an uppercut from Naruto when he reappeared in front of him. Sasuke was flying through the air when Naruto extended his hand, causing Sasuke to be grabbed by the red aura emanating from his hands. Then Naruto dragged him to the ground and slammed him down. Naruto leapt into the air and ran in Sasuke's direction. After extending his leg, Naruto flew down in Sasuke's direction. When Sasuke saw the attack coming, he rolled aside, sending Naruto crashing to the ground and leaving a crater nearly as large as Sasuke's. Sasuke stood up and rushed towards Naruto. There, Naruto waited until Sasuke attempted to strike him. Naruto used one arm to block the attack. As Naruto put it, "You've left yourself open, Uchiha scum." Naruto immobilized Sasuke by channeling a portion of his demonic chakra through his body. Sasuke made numerous attempts to move but was unsuccessful. "What did you do to me?" he shouted. Naruto laughed as he said, "As long as my energy is in your body, you can't move. You can try as much as you like to move, but you will fail, until I want you out of it." 9 inches separated Naruto's hand from Sasuke's body. Naruto concentrated energy in his palm to produce a blood-red attack. Naruto made the ball shrink to 3 inches in width as it began to grow. The ball then grew to be 6 inches wide as Naruto began to concentrate his demonic energy into it. Naruto said, "This is a brand new attack I've made on the fly. I hope you like it, Sasuke." Kyuubi's rage. Sasuke was hit squarely by the oncoming attack. The audience was unable to see the fighter's movements because of the massive smokescreen that was created by the attack. The audience saw Naruto holding Hinata bridal style in his arms as she woke up after the smoke had cleared. With a massive burn mark on his chest, Sasuke was rendered unconscious on the ground. "What happened?" asked Hinata as she awoke. Naruto was saying, "Sasuke put you in a genjutsu. It intensified anything you felt 1,000-fold. Hinata replied, "Damn it, I should have been able to break that." "Don't worry about it. Sasuke basically blabbed everything about that genjutsu to me. We'll be ready next time," Naruto said, setting Hinata down. Hinata replied, "Oh well. Anyway, thanks for saving my ass again, Naruto-kun. I guess I owe you some ramen." Naruto laughed and replied, "No you don't. I was so worried about you when I heard you scream. Just please, stay safe for me, Hinata-kan. If something happened to you, I don't know what I'd do." Hinata claimed to be a worrisome idiot. Leaning up, Hinata gave Naruto a kiss on the lips. The kiss startled Naruto, but he gave it back. They were ecstatic. Not even the proctor's announcement of their team's victory reached them. Without looking at anyone, they both walked out of the arena after sharing a kiss. Sarutobi found their antics amusing. "Kick-ass lovebirds. I never thought I'd see the day a 12-year-old could be both a lover and fighter. Oh well, time to get paid." Sarutobi hurried out of the cage booth to get his wager money. Sasuke awoke in the hospital a few hours later. He had Danzo sitting next to him. Sasuke replied, "What happened? Your team was supposed to kill the bitch and bug boy, not hurt the Dobi. He was mine." Danzo replied, "And despite my assassin stabbing the boy in the leg, you couldn't defeat him." Sasuke replied, "Because that bitch was helping him. If your damn assassin did his job, I'd be a genin and the Dobi would be dirt." Danzo was saying, "Calm yourself, Sasuke. You will get your revenge on the Uzumaki boy. Today was just a minor setback. You will become a genin. One way or another you will. Oh yeah. The first rookie team to get a C rank, we are awesome. You know it, Urameshi, we're gonna be kicking ass and taking names in no time. I expected this from Yusuke, but not you, Kazuma. Oh shut up, Shizuru. What do you know anyway? I know that a bunch of ninja teams never live through their first C rank. TCH. Shut up. This was the discussion amongst the recently formed Team 3. Team 3 had been on a rapid path to victory ever since their team battle against Team 4. They were on a C-rank mission during their first 2 weeks as ninjas. The Hokage personally praised their teamwork during their battle with Team 4. Additionally, even though the Hokage didn't particularly enjoy it, they could skip D-rank missions and go straight to C-rank since D-rank missions were meant to promote teamwork, which they had in abundance. As their first C-rank, they found themselves escorting an elderly man back to the land of mountains. One member of this team was Yusuke Urameshi, a 12-year-old boy with brown eyes and pure black hair who called himself a master of Reiki. He was dressed in blue karate pants and a yellow sleeveless shirt. He was wearing blue shoes and a white karate belt to keep it together. Yusuke was a member of the Urameshi clan. The legendary attacks of the Urameshi family were known to be fueled by pure spirit energy, also known as Reiki. In a way, Yusuke had been a class prodigy. The spirit gun is a special move that he learned at the age of 6. It wasn't until they were at least 14 years old that the majority of Urameshi clan members could discover that. Yusuke became a little cocky as a result. Shizuru Kuwabara and Kazuma were the next members of the team. Shizuru was 14 years old, and Kazuma was 12. Kazuma was a roughneck, or Kuwabara, as most people called him. He never took no for an answer and loved to fight constantly. He was best friends with Yusuke, although it was hard to tell from their interactions. His family, the Kuwabaras, also used Reiki to power their attacks, but they used mid to short range weapons like the Reiki sword, rather than long range weapons like the spirit gun. Shizuru was Team 3's brains. The only person to ever address Kazuma by his first name and escape punishment was her. She simply preferred being a support fighter over a front-line combatant, and she also possessed more power than her brother. She chose to wait 2 years until her brother was old enough to enter the academy because she was extremely protective of him. She was easily outvoted, despite being the only team member who didn't want to accept a C-rank mission that early. With their sensei at their back, Shizuru, Yusuke, and Kuwabara were all strolling peacefully down the street. The elderly gentleman was strolling placidly along the street, content that he had been escorted back by 4 ninja. He had heard that bandits had ambushed numerous people along the route he was following. He couldn't be harmed with all these ninja on his side. How mistaken he was. He was unaware that the road was home to something much more dangerous than bandits. They heard something rustling in the bushes as they were strolling. It gave Shizuru a bad feeling right away. Her sixth sense was more acute than her brother's, but they were both extremely enhanced. Shizuru sensed that a negative event was imminent. Kuwabara experienced the same emotion. Their facial expressions made Yusuke aware that something was amiss. Yusuke was much better at teaming up with the Kuwabaras because he had a terrible sixth sense for danger. Shizuru tried to sense the location of the next attack by closing her eyes and using her Reiki. Shizuru snapped her eyes open, pointing to a tree and saying, "Urameshi, fire right there." Yusuke made a fake gun with his hands and used his left hand to grab his right wrist. When Shizuru instructed him to do so, he pointed his finger there. "Spirit gun," he exclaimed, directing all of his Reiki to the tip of his finger. Something was knocked out when a blue, spherical blast of energy erupted from his fingertip and struck it. He was followed by a kunai before they could identify him. I heard Kuwabara shout, "Reiki sword." An orange sword emerged from the palm of his hand. Kuwabara sliced the kunai in two as he leapt in front of Yusuke. Kuwabara began scanning the area for any indication of the adversaries. When Shizuru turned to face their client, he was gone. Shizuru turned to face their sensei, who was also dead. This is really bad, Shizuru thought. The client vanished, and sensei is dead. What chance do we have if that's how they could get the drop on sensei? Shizuru had another uneasy feeling and turned to see a man with a sword unsheathed in the air. We heard Shizuru shout, "Reiki javelin." Like her brother, Shizuru made a Reiki sword, but it was twice as long and not as wide. Like a real-life javelin, she threw it after pulling it back. The man's arm was pierced by the attack, making him vulnerable to Yusuke's spirit gun. The man's body was reduced to cinders by the spirit gun. With a sly smile, Yusuke said, "One down." According to Kuwabara, "I don't know how many left to go." Shizuru replied, "We gotta get out of here. They're attacking from the shadows. We're sitting ducks out here." As Yusuke glanced around, he noticed a ninja running up next to him. Quickly pointing at him, Yusuke unleashed a spirit gun, but the attack was intercepted by a clone. "Damn it," Yusuke muttered and began focusing on the fight. "There's only one spirit gun left. Even though it's the strongest of the four, I'm in serious trouble if I waste it." One of the attackers exploded out of the ground. Hoping for a direct hit, Yusuke hurriedly fired his final spirit gun round. The issue was that the man substituted a log for himself. The log was swiftly destroyed by Yusuke's attacks, which also flew straight into Kuwabara. Kuwabara screamed in agony and fell to the ground. Kazuma, Kawabara, yelled Yusuke and Shizuru, respectively. Both of them sprinted to Kuwabara and knelt beside him. He was heavily bleeding from Yusuke's most powerful spirit gun shot. They all heard a shout of, ninja style, temporary paralysis jutsu, before they could take any action. For a moment, the three ninja were immobile and paralyzed. Three ninjas in all black emerged and severed Team 3 members' heads. After that, the three departed and eventually reached their base. How did it go? A voice from the shadows asked them when they arrived. Master, every member of Team 3 were exterminated, one of the three ninjas said. What happened to number 45,523? The voice asked. According to one of the ninja, my lord, he was killed in the battle. I trust his remains have been dealt with? The voice went on. The ninja in question replied, yes, my lord. Good, now, dismissed. The voice's owner was left alone with his thoughts after the three ninja departed. Oh, this is going great. After Team 3 is vanquished, another ninja team can take their place. I'll see to it that Sasuke owns that team. His loss at the Genin selection tournament was, as I informed him, merely a small setback. Kurenai showed up at Team 8's training ground at 8 a.m., as she had instructed them to do. They were already training there when she got there. Kurenai summoned her team to her. Guys, she said, I have bad news. What happened? Hinata asked. Kurenai said gravely, Team 3 has been killed. Naruto's eyes went wide with surprise. What happened to them? He asked. According to Kurenai, they went on their first C-rank mission yesterday. They were ambushed and killed. Their Junin sensei was killed too. That is unfortunate, Shino remarked. According to Hinata, you mean fucked up. Kurenai stated, their funeral is gonna be held in a few days. I thought you guys would want to know. What will happen to their spot? Asked Shino. I asked Kurenai, what do you mean? Shino stated, Konohagakure's budget can only support 9 new ninja. 3 of them were just killed, and Konohagakure needs all the ninja it can get. What's gonna happen to those 3 spots? Kurenai replied, I don't know. If I had to guess, they would be given to one of the failing teams from the Genin matches. With slightly narrowed eyes, Hinata remarked, I smell something funny. I don't think it's a coincidence that the crowd favorite lost, then another team was taken out. After giving Hinata's statement some thought, Kurenai remarked, you might be on to something right there. It does sound like a huge coincidence. According to Shino, it would seem suitable to conclude that the people that attacked us 3 at the stadium were the same ones that executed Team 3. Hinata stated, it seems that Sasuke has some friends in shady places, but something doesn't add up though. Naruto replied, I think I know what you mean. Because of me, we were the ones the crowd hated the most. And Sasuke wants to kill me. Shouldn't we be their targets instead of Team 3? Shino replied, I thought the exact same thing. But we are in the village. If we were attacked, everyone would know about it soon and Anbu would start chasing them. According to Kurenai, but outside the village, the Anbu won't be able to respond quick enough. The killers will have enough time to get away. Naruto replied, so it wasn't a fact of who the crowd hated most, it was just whoever could be killed the easiest. Shino replied, sadly, yes, and since they left the village, they were easy targets. Angrily, Naruto squinted his eyes. He replied, that is so unfair, they didn't do anything wrong. Kurenai responded, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it for you Naruto. Sometimes good people die for no good reason. Some bastard just saw them as a stepping stone to the top, so they took them out. There's nothing we can do Naruto, except watch out ourselves so that we don't end up as a statistic. Naruto replied, I never thought I'd say this, but my job sucks. I understand how you feel, Naruto, Kurenai remarked. 2 days later a picture of Yusuke, Kuwabara, and Shizuru posing was displayed at the Team 3 funeral. A picture of their Junin sensei, grinning as though he had no worries in the world, was placed directly next to it. It saddened Naruto to see their happy, smiling faces. Although they appeared so content in the photos, that could quickly come to an end. Sitting behind the Urameshi family, Naruto was expressing his sympathies to Yusuke's mother. Unfortunately, in a state akin to a coma, Yusuke's mother sat in her chair looking straight ahead. She gave no acknowledgement to anything or anyone. The mother of Shizuru and Kuwabara was sitting there sobbing uncontrollably. Her life revolved around those children, and now they were gone. Hinata attempted to console their mother, but she remained silent. Naruto got up with a white rose in his hand as it was time to place flowers on the grave. After setting it in front of the photos, he proceeded to the top of the casket. The people who did this to you will pay, Naruto thought. This kind of play with people's lives is unacceptable. Naruto returned home after the funeral and rested his head on his bed. Naruto recognized the familiar pull on his conscience as coming from the Kyuubi. Experience warned Naruto that it would begin to hurt like hell if he didn't respond right away. Naruto then entered his head and proceeded to the Kyuubi's cage. He replied, "What do you want now, you old geezer?" Standing up from his knees, the fox stretched as far as the cage would allow. He replied, "What do you mean? You're the one who came here. I didn't call you." Naruto responded, "Yes, you did. According to the fox, I didn't call you." From one of the room's corners, a voice said, "I called you." Naruto turned to see a woman emerge from the shadows. She appeared to be around 5 feet 6 inches with green eyes and red hair, and Naruto said, "Who are you?" However, the Kyuubi blew a gasket and leapt forward, putting pressure on the cage's bars and shouting, "You! Not you once more. When I killed you and this useless flesh bag was born, I believed I had seen the last of you. I'm behind this cage, which is fortunate for you. I would eat your body and ruin your soul if I wasn't." Saying, "You would do that to your own little girl?" The woman grinned at the Kyuubi. "You are officially the worst father ever." The Kyuubi shouted, "You're not my daughter. My daughter would never flee to this useless world and become infected with the seed of some half-breed that is degenerate." The woman squinted, then reappeared inside the Kyuubi's cage, kicked him in the face, vanished beneath him, and delivered an uppercut to his chin. While the Kyuubi was writhing on the ground, she screamed, "Never talk about Minato-kun like that. I'm only keeping you alive so Naruto-chan can fully take over your power and claim it as his own." As she landed beside Naruto after flying out of the Kyuubi's cage, the woman said, "I'm sorry you had to see that, Naruto-chan." Naruto declared, "I'm fine. You have no idea how often I've wanted to do that to the elderly folks there." "When did you figure it out?" the woman said with a loud sigh. "It was easy," Naruto remarked. "Gramps over there are always talking about how he can control my demon chakra because I'm his grandson." "So you know who I am?" said the woman. "Yeah, I know." Naruto approached the woman, gave her a hug, and said, "Hello, Mom." The woman gave Naruto a firm embrace and greeted him as, "Hello, son." "Yes, dear grandson. Enjoy this moment with Kushina while you can, because mark my words, I will destroy you. No one will take my throne from me," the Kyuubi saw as they hugged after he had just gone back up after being kicked by his daughter. After saying goodbye to his mother, Naruto said, "I assume you would like to discuss something?" "Yes," Kushina replied, "but let's go somewhere else first. I'm getting sick of Dad's breath." Naruto said, "Where are we?" As Kushina placed her hand on his shoulder and the sewer and cage vanished in a flash of light, followed by the Kyuubi, who then materialized in a park that he recognized. "We're in Konoha State Park," Kushina stated. "When Minato-kun and I went out, we would always come here. It's among my favorite spots in the community." "The same here," Naruto said. "When we were younger, Hinata-chan and I would frequently come here to play. This place seems to hold memories for both of us," Kushina remarked. "However, we must get down to business." Mother and son sat down on a nearby bench, and Naruto said, "All right, I must ask now. How exactly are you here?" "Well, I'm dead," Kushina said. "When a demon dies, their powers are taken away and their soul is transformed into a human." "So you're human now?" said Naruto. "Yes," Kushina said. "However, I was a demon when I was alive. You are half demon because I was also a full demon." Looking at the ground, Naruto remarked, "So I'm half demon now? Although it will be difficult to explain to my girlfriend, that explains the origin of my demonic chakra. It's actually called Yuki, not demon chakra," Kushina stated. "And I'm here for that reason. Being half demon shouldn't make you feel ashamed or afraid. You have a lot of power and abilities if you are half demon. I put a piece of my soul in your body to teach you how to control your Yuki because I knew when you were born that I wouldn't be there to support you. Besides, if your girlfriend was a real friend she wouldn't care at all. You've been half demon since you were born, so what difference does that make now? You'll still walk the same, talk the same, and act the same. You're not gonna spontaneously crave human flesh and kill people for sport, are you?" Naruto replied, "You're right. Nothing has changed, except I now know how much power I really have." Kushina replied, "And I'm gonna be there every step of the way to help you manage it." Naruto replied, "Thanks, Mom. But there's something I have to ask you. Was Dad completely human?" "What do you mean?" asked Kushina, with a questioning expression on her face. Could he have unlocked that transformation already? Naruto replied, you see, I can do this transformation thing. It turns my hair blonde and turns my eyes to a greenish blue. And it makes me a whole lot stronger. I was wondering if you knew if Dad could do something like that? Naruto, honey, how long have you been able to do that transformation? Kushina asked, dropping her inquisitive gaze. It was now Naruto's turn to wear a curious expression. Since I was 6, why? He asked. Show me. Kushina said. Naruto clenched his fist, slightly gritted his teeth, and changed. After beginning to snicker, Kushina burst out laughing. She started rolling on the floor after falling to the ground from laughing so hard. Says Naruto, what's so funny? As he recovered from the giggle, Kushina continued to giggle and remarked, your father couldn't do that until he was 13. What is this transformation anyway? Asked Naruto. Kushina replied, me and your father left scrolls for you with Sarutobi. Ask him when we're done talking. Naruto stated, whenever I asked the old man who my family was before, he said he didn't know. Kushina replied, because in our wills, we stated that you weren't to know until you were 13 or unlocked your abilities from both your father and me. So far, you only started on your father's ability, not mine. Naruto stated, but at the Genin team tournament I used my Dem Yuki to heal myself and defeat Sasuke. Naruto's forehead was touched by Kushina, who said, think about what happened there, and I'll be able to see. Despite his confusion, Naruto went ahead and did it. His mother watched the entire event as if she were there, firsthand, as he reflected on how he used the demon chakra to complete his match. After seeing it, she replied, you haven't done anything yet. That wasn't even the tip of the iceberg. I'll teach you what you need to know to get that scroll from Sarutobi. So what are you teaching me? Asked Naruto. Kushina stated, I'll teach you how to transform into your demon human hybrid form. Don't worry, when you transform into it, you can change back. So what do I have to do? Asked Naruto. Kushina stated, you're close to unlocking it. That little chakra cloak thing you did was actually the first step. But you have to take it further. That time, all you did was focus the chakra to create an aura around you. This time, you have to call on your demon power, and force it through your entire body. Naruto was perplexed once more. What? He asked. Just try it, Kushina said, and I'll coach you through it. Naruto left the bench he was seated on and took a seat on the ground, with Kushina standing beside him. Naruto closed his eyes and began to focus as Kushina uttered the words, now Naruto, reach for your Yuki. In a moment, Naruto felt for his chakra and summoned it. That was pretty quick, Naruto. Now, where is the source of it? Where is the energy coming from? Kushina asked him after he finished. Naruto was baffled by Kushina's question. That had never occurred to him before. He replied, isn't it in my chakra system? Kushina replied, no, Yuki comes from a different place. Feel for the power, and determine where the source is. After focusing harder, Naruto began to sense demonic chakra. He continued to meditate and discovered that his gut was the source. He stated, it comes from the center of my gut. Kushina knelt beside Naruto and touched his stomach. From right here? She asked. Yeah, Naruto replied. That's the wrong Yuki. That's Dad's, Kushina remarked. Naruto gazed at her after opening his eyes. He continued, but that's what I used in the tournament. Kushina replied, I know, and did you feel like it was kinda hard to manipulate it? Naruto replied, yeah, it was. It was harder than using my own human chakra. Kushina replied, that's because it's not yours, so it's harder to make the chakra bend to your will. Since you're his grandson, it was easier for you to use it than if someone like Sarutobi used it. According to Naruto, so what do I do? Kushina was saying, keep searching for it. You'll find it eventually. Naruto shut his eyes and began to focus more intently. How did Dad's Yuki feel? Asked Kushina. According to Naruto, it felt like lightning. It felt like it was crackling around everywhere and was hard to contain. Kushina replied, that's because it's not yours. Your Yuki will feel like it's coming out in waves. Yuki pulsates from its source, and you have to find that source. After increasing his focus, Naruto discovered the solution 10 minutes later. He stated, it feels like it's coming from my heart. You got it. Now, focus that energy from your core, and flood your entire body with it, Kushina said with a smile. When Naruto followed Kushina's instructions, he felt the Yuki transform him and fill his entire body. When Kushina sensed that the changes had stopped, he said, you did it, son. Naruto got to his feet and turned to face himself. He had long hair that reached his shoulders, along with his eyes. It also changed color, turning a bright red. His nails hardened into claws, and his canine teeth were elongated. On his head were 2 fox-like ears, both fuzzy. His body got leaner and he grew taller. Additionally, his muscles were larger than normal. However, those were only the outward modifications. He was incredibly energetic, however, it felt different. It was neither ki nor chakra. Naruto replied, "What is this power? It feels weird. I've used chakra and ki before, but nothing like this." Kushina replied, "That's because it's not chakra or ki. It's Reiki. It comes from your soul, which is why I want you to be extra careful when you use it. I don't want you overexerting yourself and dying." Says Naruto. "I'll be careful." Kushina continued, "Now, in this form you use Reiki instead of ki, so if you use too much ki, your Reiki can also be used. Also, I'll be teaching you some Reiki techniques to up your arsenal." He said, "Thanks, Mom." Kushina replied, "But before you go, I'll teach you 2 attacks right now. The Spirit Gun and the Reiki Sword." Naruto replied, "Aren't those techniques clan techniques of the Urameshis and Kuwabaras?" Kushina replied, "Yes, but you can still use them. It's all in that scroll I left you, trust me." Naruto replied, "Okay then, but how will you teach it to me? You said that when you died, all your Yuki was made into chakra." Kushina laughed and replied, "Yes, but you forget. Chakra is composed of ki and Reiki. I can still use those techniques. And I can still teach them." "Thank you. Now, let's get to it," Naruto said, bowing to his mother. The following day, Naruto went straight to the Hokage's tower after waking up. Ignoring that he was interrupting a meeting between the elders and the Hokage, he walked up the stairs and into the Hokage's office. "Old man," Naruto said, "we need to talk. Get out of here, boy. Can't you see your betters are talking?" Danzo said, turning to face Naruto. Naruto widened his eyes. "First of all, you won. I'd slot machine, who the hell was talking to you? And second of all, the only person here who's better than me is the Hokage, and all I see is him talking to 3 old, tired out ass kissers. Now get the hell out of here. Me and the Hokage have something to talk about." "Boy, you better watch who you're," Danzo said as he rose from his chair. "Danzo, Homura, Kaharu, I think our time here is over. We'll finish our discussion later," the Hokage said as he got to his feet. "But," Kaharu said, reminding the 3 elders of the reason he was Hokage in the first place. The Hokage glared at them. "I said, we're done," he said. The 3 complained about being rude to brats as they departed the Hokage's office. The Hokage replied, "So tell me, Naruto. What is so important that you had to interrupt a meeting between me and the elders on the council?" Naruto replied, "Oh please, you and I both know you hate talking to those 3 mummies." Sarutobi replied, "Touché. But still, what did you want to talk about?" Naruto replied, "I need to tell you what happened last night. While I was at home, I felt the Kyuubi drawing me to his cage. When I went there though, there was someone else waiting for me. She said she was my mother." With narrowed eyes, Sarutobi asked, "What did she look like?" Naruto stated, "She had green eyes, red hair, and was wearing a red battle kimono." "Where was she standing when you first saw her?" asked Sarutobi. Naruto replied, "She was standing in a corner of the room. Why?" "Are you sure she wasn't behind the seal?" asked Sarutobi. Naruto replied, "I'm positive. Besides, if the Kyuubi tried to reach past the seal, he's shocked. There's no way she's the Kyuubi." Taking a deep breath, Sarutobi remarked, "Good. I was worried for a second." Naruto nodded and continued, "Anyway, she said that there are 2 scrolls here that were left by my father and her. I was to get them either when I turned 13 or when I mastered both transformations I inherited from them. And I have." "Really?" said Sarutobi. "Then show me." After changing into his blonde hair transformation, Naruto hesitated and dropped it. Naruto replied, "Gramps, is it possible for me to not do the demonic transformation?" "Why don't you want to, Naruto?" Scared, asked Sarutobi in jest. Naruto laughed and refuted Sarutobi's assertions. "Me? Scared? No way, it's just, well, the people of this village could easily recognize the Kyuubi's Yuki. If I transformed into my demonic state, they could feel the energy and do something rash. Can you please just take my word for it?" As soon as Sarutobi met Naruto's gaze, he realized that was not the case. He was aware that the young boy was bothered by something about the change. He debated for a moment before deciding to put his trust in the boy, who he considered to be his grandson. Sarutobi responded, "I'll take your word for it. But I can't believe it, Naruto. You mastered both transformations, and you're not even 13. Take them. But do you need your mother's? You do have her in your body to coach you." Naruto replied, "She said there's something in there that will help me not get my ass kicked for learning the Spirit Gun and Reiki Sword." Sarutobi replied, "The clan techniques of the Urameshi and Kuwabara? Oh yeah, They did sign a treaty saying your mother could learn it and so could her family. Reaching into his desk, the Hokage took out the scrolls. He passed them to Naruto and said, Naruto, I have to warn you. Your parents didn't want your heritage to be told to anyone until you were Junin at least. So make sure that scroll never leaves your person. After nodding, Naruto remarked, I'll make sure, Sarutobi. The Hokage replied, good, now I'm pretty sure you still have a ninja team to be on. Naruto became aware of his lateness when he glanced at the clock. He replied, oh yeah. I gotta go. See y'all later. Then, in order to move more quickly, Naruto transformed into his father and flew out of the Hokage's office after opening the window. When Naruto got home from team practice, he took out his mother's scroll. Although Naruto would have read it, his mother advised him not to. Nothing in that scroll, she claimed, was something she couldn't tell him face.to. Face. Naruto extracted another scroll after breaking the blood seal on the bottom of the first one. After reading its contents, Naruto understood that this scroll was what would allow him to use the spirit gun and Reiki sword without facing any repercussions from the Kuwabara and Urameshi. After taking off, Naruto landed at the Urameshi clan's house. The clan home resembled a tiny palace. When Naruto knocked on the front door, a man with yellow eyes and short white hair answered. He was dressed in blue pants and a black shirt. He was Yusuke's grandfather, Raizen Urameshi. Sir, my name is Naruto Uzumaki, said Naruto. Raizen replied, Uzumaki, you say? Did you know a woman by the name of Kushina Uzumaki? Naruto replied, yes sir, that's what I'm here to talk about. She was my mother. She died in childbirth. Raizen replied, that's so sad. She was always full of life, but anyway, what can I do for you? After extracting the scroll, Naruto gave it to Raizen. Raizen looked over the document and said, I remember this. Your mother saved my eldest daughter and her friend from the Kuwabara family. As payment for her deeds, we gave her our spirit gun technique for her to pass down through her family. Naruto replied, I know sir. My mother left me a scroll on how to perform that and the Reiki sword, but I wanted to make sure it was alright for me to use them. After giving it some thought, Raizen said, wait here. Then Raizen returned to the house for a brief moment before leaving again. His words were, come with me. Then, with Naruto at his heels, Raizen left the house and made his way to the hospital. I need a blood comparison test done right now for a clan matter, Raizen said as he approached the welcome desk upon his arrival. I'm sorry sir, but that could take a while to do, the woman behind the desk said. After lowering Raizen, Naruto spoke softly to him. You know, I think it says who my mother is on my birth certificate. We could just go to Sarutobi and ask him to show it to you. Raizen replied, good thinking. I hate waiting for blood test results anyway. Naruto and Raizen both headed for the Hokage Tower. While Naruto made his way to the doors, Raizen went to the secretary to schedule an appointment. Then, shouting, Kaya! Bitch! Naruto pulled his foot up and kicked the door open with force. Sarutobi was so shocked when the doors flew open that his chair tipped back and hit the floor. Naruto started laughing when he saw this. I'm sorry to bother you, Hokage. Sama, but we need to see Naruto's birth certificate, Raizen said as he hurried up behind Naruto. Why exactly do you need to see it, Raizen? Asked Sarutobi. Naruto stated, I need proof that my mom is who I said she is. With haste, Sarutobi grabbed a file from his desk. A copy of Naruto's birth certificate was among the many documents in the file. Sarutobi called Raizen over and took out some black tape, covering Naruto's father's name but leaving his mother's name exposed. Raizen took a look at it and stated, that's proof enough for me. Naruto, from now on, you are allowed to use the spirit gun and Reiki sword. I'll tell the Kuwabaras about this so that you won't have to show it twice. With a bow, Naruto said, thank you, Raizen-san. Raizen then left and went home, and Naruto followed suit. Upon arriving, Naruto took out his father's scroll. Although he had been excited to read it, he didn't want to do it in public for fear of being surveilled. When Naruto opened the scroll, he saw handwriting that resembled his own but appeared more elegant and professional. To Naruto, my name is Minato Namikaze, the Ondaime Hokage, the Konoha no Kiroi Senko, and the title I'm most proud of is the husband of Kushina Uzumaki and the father of Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. If you're reading this, then something went wrong with your birth and the Kyuubi escaped from your mother's seal. If that's the case, then I probably gave my life to ensure that you could live yours, and I would do it over again if I could go back in time. I have to tell you something, Naruto. Neither your mother nor I are fully human. Your mother is a demon, and even though she doesn't like to admit it, she is the daughter of the Kyuubi, the king of the demon world, and thus the princess and heir to the throne. That section of the letter caused Naruto's eyes to widen. The Kyuubi had been bragging about being the king of demons ever since he was able to speak with him, but Naruto had never taken notice because he thought he was lying to make himself appear stronger than he actually was. You have to be careful, my son, because the Kyuubi hates her for it. He has become too attached to his position as king and is unwilling to give it up, even going so far as to attempt to kill his own daughter. Additionally, since you are Kushina's son, if the Kyuubi were to escape his seal, he would target you and your mother first. We'll go on to me now that your mother has been covered. I'm not a demon like your mother, but I'm also not entirely human. I'm a Saiyan, a race of warriors from another planet who lived to fight and fought to live. Their strength grew with each battle they engaged in and whenever they recovered from a deadly wound. I was 13 when I first learned about my Saiyan heritage. I had just completed a transformation that made my eyes blue and my hair blonde, and I called the process goldenization. I know it's a dumb name, but come on, I was 13. Eventually, the spirit of Prince Vegeta, our Saiyan ancestor, approached me. It appears that if a Saiyan is powerful enough, he can control the blood of his descendants, and Vegeta used that power to change me from a human to a half Saiyan. Vegeta claimed that none of his generations of descendants had attained or deserved the power of a Saiyan, so their blood became increasingly diluted. This is what caused him to change me from a human to a Saiyan throwback. Vegeta has been by my side throughout my life, teaching me more and more about my Saiyan heritage and skills. Jiraiya of the Sannin taught me chakra techniques, your mother taught me Reiki techniques, and Vegeta taught me ki techniques, all of which helped shape me into the legend I am today. I would include the Hiraishin in this scroll, but it earned me the nickname, Konoha no Kiroi Senko, and I want you to earn one for yourself. This scroll contains all of the lessons that Vegeta taught me, as well as instructions for one of my signature jutsu, the Rasengan. I love you, son, and I know that you will take the world by storm. Naruto, you can doubt a lot of things in this life, including politics and the elders, but never doubt that your mother and I loved you unconditionally, and nothing will ever change that. I'll say it again if you don't remember. Minato Namikaze. Naruto began to experience an odd sensation on his face as he read the letter. When he raised his hand to remove it, he saw that it was tears. For the first time in a long time, he was crying. After taking a moment to gather himself, Naruto continued reading the scroll about the techniques. A tutorial on how to access your ki was shown at the beginning, but Naruto skipped it because he was already aware of it. I will begin this scroll by discussing the various forms of Super Saiyan. If you're not familiar with the term, Naruto, it's the transformation in which your eyes turn blue and your hair turns blonde. My hair and eyes were originally that color as well, but they turned black when Vegeta revealed my Saiyan ancestry. There are currently 4 Super Saiyan levels known to exist. When I was 13, I was able to unlock Super Saiyan 1, the first form of Super Saiyan. My life completely changed as a result of the transformation. It greatly increases your energy, speed, and power. Although the precise amount is unknown, I believe it to be well over 10 times. A yellow flame like aura emanates from your body, and your hair stands up like a fire. However, this method is a double-edged sword because it can only be activated by intense anger and outrage. Even some level-headed Saiyans, like me, toy with an opponent that they could easily defeat, regardless of how dangerous that opponent is, because during this state, you also get angry and feel the need to fight. You'll notice that your anger and need to fight start to lessen as you continue to train with this transformation. You may eventually become a Super Saiyan and experience no emotional change at all. Additionally, this technique puts a lot of strain on your body, which lessens with increased use. Super Saiyan 2 is the second form. On my 16th birthday, I unlocked this form. Super Saiyan 1 on steroids. Essentially, your power is enhanced even further at Super Saiyan 2 compared to Super Saiyan. Your hair, if it can, stands up even more, you get faster, and your muscle mass barely increases. Electrical sparks are also produced throughout your body by your aura. This form's trigger and effects on your character are identical to those of the first Super Saiyan form. Similar to Super Saiyan 1, the negative effects are minimized. Additionally, you will notice that it begins to affect your hair in its natural form the longer you remain in this form. My hair began to stand up more than usual when I first mastered Super Saiyan 2. Naruto whooped with delight and dropped the scroll. From regular to Super Saiyan, the power increase was already massive. If he were to unlock the 4th level, you can only imagine how powerful he would be. I'll be the Hokage in no time if things continue this way for me. After reading the scroll once more, Naruto noticed something. His father went from Super Saiyan to Super Saiyan 2 in just 3 years. At the age of 12, he still hasn't unlocked Super Saiyan 2, despite having unlocked Super Saiyan when he was 6. I have to catch up, damn it. My father is already 3 years ahead of me. Naruto began to meditate while seated on his home's floor. Feeling around for his energy, Naruto grabbed it and became a Super Saiyan. Subsequently, Naruto rapidly increased his power, gradually increasing it. Then Naruto took action. Naruto experienced a surge in power beyond anything he had ever generated. Naruto heard a tiny crackle of electric sparks, felt his hair stand up more, and sensed his aura grow stronger. He could feel the anger in every muscle in his body grow, even if only slightly. Naruto was aware that he had successfully unlocked Super Saiyan's second level. Naruto got to his feet and began to enjoy his strength. He believed he was strong enough to accomplish anything he set his mind to. Super Saiyan 2 is incredible. My current level of power is unbelievable. That bastard, that Uchiha. It's time for me to get back at him for the years he's been insulting me. In fact, I'm thinking of paying him a brief visit. With the full intention of flying out there and confronting the Uchiha head on, Naruto began to make his way toward the window. However, his life was spared by a voice inside his head. Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. Just what in the 9 levels of hell do you think you're doing? Mom? Naruto thought fearfully, his eyes enlarging to the size of frying pans. Don't you mump me, you dumbass. Just what were you about to do? Kushina said in a voice full of anger. As Naruto reflected, I was going to fight the Uchiha. Kushina replied, no you're not. You and I are gonna have a little talk, Naru-chan. Naruto abruptly lost consciousness, colliding with a lifeless pile on the ground before resuming his normal state. In the park that Kushina had imagined, he reappeared. Kushina slapped him across the back of his head before he could realize where he was. She responded with, Naruto, you really disappointed me there. What do you mean? Asked Naruto. Kushina responded, as soon as you unlocked a new transformation, you were gonna rush over there to the Uchiha's residence and start a fight with him. Are you insane? You had no idea what that transformation did to your body, do you? What did it do? Said Naruto. Kushina stated, your body couldn't handle the stress of Super Saiyan 2, but you were about to get into a fight with that form anyway. You complete dumbass. Naruto replied, what's so wrong about it, Mom? I felt the power. In Super Saiyan 2, I'm stronger and a lot faster than Sasuke. I could have beat him before the stress got to me. I know my limits, Mom. Kushina murmured, no, you don't. You are overestimating your abilities and underestimating Sasuke's. As a matter of fact, let me show you just what would have happened if you went to fight him. After guiding Naruto to the park's pond, Kushina touched it. After a brief period of distortion, the pond's surface stopped moving, revealing Naruto in his Super Saiyan 2 form. Just to refresh your memory, this fight scene between Naruto and Sasuke did not occur. Instead, this is what would have occurred had Kushina not intervened. The newly Super Saiyan 2 Naruto thought, as a matter of fact, I think I'll pay him a little visit. Naruto hurried to his window, opened it, and took off for the Uchiha district. Naruto descended from the sky and hit the ground with a tremendous thud as he got there. Sasuke, come out here and take your ass. Whooping like the whiny bitch you are, cried Naruto as he got to his feet. Naruto yelled, come out and face me, Sasuke. Come out, or I'll start smashing shit. After Sasuke had been hiding for a few minutes, Naruto shouted, okay then, you asked for it, Sasuke. A few seconds later, with the palm facing a building to his right, Naruto extended his right hand. An orb of dark red energy formed in his hand as he directed his energy toward his palm. Naruto shouted, Demon's Rage, as he increased the power, realizing that it was increasing more quickly than he had anticipated and more quickly than it had ever done. The building was destroyed when the attack struck it and exploded as it sailed forward. The building's charred remnants fell onto neighboring structures, setting them on fire as well. After hearing a scream, Naruto turned to see Sasuke running down the street toward him. Sasuke tried to punch Naruto when he appeared in front of him, but Naruto swiftly grabbed his hand and threw him at a non-flamming building. Sasuke kicked off from his feet toward Naruto after swiftly turning himself in the air to face the building. Sasuke produced 2 kunai, one of which he threw while grasping the other in reverse. Predicting the kunai strike with ease, Naruto leapt out of the way of it and grabbed Sasuke's wrist. Naruto replied, did you seriously expect this to work on me? The delicate bones in Sasuke's wrist were then crushed as Naruto began to squeeze it. Sasuke fell to his knees and let out a painful scream. In Naruto's words, stop playing Sasuke and transform. Then Naruto kicked Sasuke in the chest, causing him to fly through a door nearby. Naruto replied, I'm not gonna keep holding back, Sasuke. You had better transform right now. Sasuke squinted and began performing hand seals rapidly. Fire style, Grand Fireball Jutsu. Naruto was engulfed by a massive fireball that Sasuke exhaled. When Naruto's enormous gust of wind abruptly extinguished the flames, Sasuke narrowed his eyes. Naruto replied, "You keep playing around with me, Sasuke. Now, I'm tired." Reaching for another building, Naruto extended his hand. With a yell of, "No!" Sasuke rushed to Naruto's location in an attempt to stop him, but he got there too late. A demon's rage attack launched by Naruto destroyed a building and ignited nearby structures. There were burning buildings all around the street where Naruto and Sasuke were fighting, and the fire was rapidly spreading to other structures. Naruto noticed Sasuke's anger when he looked at him. One more building might do it, Naruto thought. Naruto began examining the surrounding structures, but he didn't notice anything noteworthy. Naruto noticed a building that was different from the others as he looked farther. This building, which was twice as tall as the others and had the Uchiha fan on it, was red while the others were painted brown and stood close to one another. Smirking at Sasuke's terrified expression, Naruto thought, "Jackpot," and pointed his hand in the direction of the building. According to Naruto, that building looked special. After drawing his fist back, Sasuke struck Naruto across the face. He continued to punch harder and harder, but Naruto simply charged his attack without even blinking. Then Naruto launched the assault. The building was blown apart by the attack as it sailed through the air. All Sasuke could do was watch as his family's neighborhood burned to the ground and his house was blasted apart. After glancing at the source of everything, Sasuke screamed like a savage and changed. His muscles grew more than double in size, and his hair turned blue. He also became taller, surpassing Naruto by more than a head. Smirking, Naruto remarked, "That's more like it." But before Naruto could say anything more, Sasuke struck him in the face and sent him flying. When Naruto looked up after landing, Sasuke was once more in his face, punching him across the jaw. Naruto landed on the ground after spinning in midair. Sasuke stated, "You destroyed my home. Everything my family worked themselves for is ruined, all because of you. Mark my words, demon, today is the day you die." "You have no idea who you're fucking with," smirked Naruto. After vanishing, Naruto resurfaced in front of Sasuke. After swiftly punching Sasuke in the stomach, Naruto launched a barrage of blows at him. Sasuke continued to block, but he was unable to anticipate the attacks. After throwing Sasuke into the air with an uppercut, Naruto vanished and then resurfaced above him. Then, creating a massive crater in the ground, Naruto kicked him to the ground. Sasuke stood back up and attempted to attack Naruto once more, but Naruto consistently sidestepped his attacks and pummeled him with punches. Having spent so much time playing with Sasuke, Naruto remarked, "You're starting to bore me." Sasuke aimed a fist at Naruto's face, which he swiftly stopped before catching the second one. Then, Naruto kicked Sasuke in the stomach with all of his strength. Sasuke fell to his knees in agony, clutching his stomach due to the intensity of the attack. With an incalculable amount of arrogance in his eyes, Naruto smirked as he turned to face Sasuke. In an attempt to get himself to fight again, Sasuke clung to Naruto's clothing. "Don't you know when you're beat?" asked Naruto. Sasuke was then sent sprawled on the ground farther down the street after Naruto punched him in the face. Raising his hand in the air, Naruto pointed it at Sasuke. An energy ball twice as large as usual began to form in Naruto's hand as he began to accumulate more and more energy. Naruto laughed and said, "Oh, how the mighty have fallen. You could never match up to me in speed, and now I outclass you in strength. For all those years of mocking me, I finally get payback. Say goodbye, Sa." Naruto's power turned against him, and that was the furthest he could go. Naruto's body began to slowly be torn apart by the power that Super Saiyan 2 gave him. Weariness began to increase the strain as Naruto fought, weakening his body until it had to shut down. Unfortunately for Naruto, it took place just prior to his murder of Sasuke. Suddenly feeling dizzy, Naruto began to lose control of Super Saiyan 2. It was as pointless as a snail attempting to outrun an avalanche, but Naruto fought through the pain to strike Sasuke with the death blow. As he fell to the ground, Naruto transformed back into his usual self. Any nearby buildings that weren't already completely destroyed by fire were destroyed when Naruto fell to the ground. Seeing what had happened to Naruto, Sasuke, who was still in his transformed state, realized that this might be his opportunity. To get back on his feet, Sasuke battled through the agony, but it was too painful. All Sasuke could do was drop to his knees and crawl to Naruto's location. Naruto was unconscious despite Sasuke taking nearly 5 minutes to crawl himself over there. Sasuke forced himself to stand up, fighting through the pain. With one hand, he grasped Naruto's head and with the other, his feet. Naruto was then held above his head by him. He swiftly brought Naruto down and raised his knee. Naruto's backbone and spine were completely destroyed by the damage inflicted by Sasuke's knee. Sasuke's knee was so strong that it was piercing Naruto's back and exposing his stomach. Then Sasuke let go of Naruto and seized his head once more. After positioning his hands correctly, Sasuke violently twisted, shattering Naruto's neck. As Sasuke snapped his neck and broke his back, Naruto could only stare with wide eyes. With a sigh, Kushina closed her eyes. She had to emphasize that Naruto wasn't yet prepared for that power, even though she knew there was a good chance it wouldn't have happened that way. "Mom, see. Could that really happen to me?" asked Naruto. Kushina grimly replied, "Yes, and that's what would have happened if I didn't stop you. In that scroll your father left you, he said that the Saiyan's power was a double-edged sword. You got a lot more powerful, but arrogant as a result. That power can easily go to your head, which is why I don't want you using it until I say that you can." Naruto replied, "But mom, why not? Super Saiyan 2 would really help me become Hokage." Kushina yelled, "Super Saiyan 2 would have you being buried at 12 years old. Don't you get it, Naruto? If you use that transformation before you're ready, you could die. All the power of that transformation inside your body, without the ability to control it, would destroy you. When you transform into a Super Saiyan without control of it, you lose all rational thought. You would attack anyone around you, friend or foe. Now do you want to do that to Kurenai, to Shino, to Hinata?" The point of Kushina's tirade began to ingrain itself into Naruto's mind, causing his eyes to widen. "Something like this happened before, didn't it?" he said softly. "Your father was in a battle and used the transformation to win it when he first unlocked Super Saiyan 2. Then he turned on his allies and tried to kill us. Fortunately, I was there and I was the first person he attacked. It was like he was a different person. In the end, I helped him remember who we were and I helped him gain control of his power," Kushina said. "However, if you choose to enter every battle brandishing a new tactic you learned 5 minutes prior to the start of the fight, I can't do that with you. You must become proficient in Super Saiyan 2 before you can consider employing it in combat, son. Learning a technique is not the same as mastering it." "I understand," Naruto said with a sigh and a nod. "I refuse to engage in combat with Super Saiyan 2. I'll put all I've learned to use. I'll make sure that I don't experience what happened to my father." "That's my boy," Kushina said with a smile as she gave Naruto a hug. "Go back out there now and begin using your new skills. You must get them there because, regrettably, none of them are fit for battle." After saying, "Yes, Mom," and heading to a large, open section of the park, Naruto worked on his spirit gun and Reiki sword for the remainder of the day in the hopes that they would be ready for battle by the time he faced his next opponent.
That's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this great story. See you in the next one.